Hello everyone, I'm David Law, Superintendent of Minnetonka Public Schools.
And I'm Mark Ambrosen, Director on the Minnetonka School Board.
We're so glad you're able to join us for our School Board Recognitions program. It's important to take time to acknowledge and celebrate the outstanding accomplishments of our students, staff, and community members.
We begin most of our regular board meetings with recognitions to highlight the positive impact that so many different people make in our district.
This month, we have students representing state and national caliber accomplishments in athletics, art, activities, and academics. We will be recognizing the national champion varsity cheerleading team, as well as the state qualifying junior varsity and middle school cheerleading teams, alpine ski state qualifiers and state champions, Nordic ski state qualifiers, one act play state qualifiers, e-sport state qualifiers and state champions, first Lego League state qualifiers and state champions, Minnetonka High School Science Bowl state qualifiers, Middle School Science Bowl state champions and national qualifiers for Minnetonka Middle School East, Minnetonka Middle School Math Count state qualifiers, Regional Scholastic Art and Writing Award winners, Minnetonka High School Music Listening state qualifiers, Middle School Honors Orchestra state qualifiers, and the grand prize winner of the Minnetonka Symphony Orchestra Youth Artist Competition.
We will begin with our cheerleaders.
At state, the varsity team placed first in the Class 2A non-tumbling division and second in varsity game day non-tumbling. This is the 26th state title for Minnetonka cheerleading. At nationals, the team continued to excel, earning first place in small varsity non-tumbling Division 1 and world-class cheer categories, as well as third place in small varsity game day non-tumbling.
As part of the national competition, they also earned the Nations Cup for having the highest score of all U.S. teams competing in the World School Cheer Session.
Before we recognize each student by name, let's hear more about the team's success.
Congratulations, Tonka Cheer, on your 26th Minnesota State title, your 6th UCA National title, and your 3rd World School Cheer title. Wow, what an incredible accomplishment you guys did this year. At no point did I ever feel like that you would not achieve your goals because of all of the hard work and dedication each of you put in. Was it easy? No, but I know that you guys are all better athletes and young ladies because of the skills that you learned over this time. I wish you nothing but the best of luck going forward, and those of you that are coming back, let's go for number 27, number 7, and number 4. Go Tonka, and thank you for allowing me to be your coach.
Hi, my name is Megan Becker. I am in 12th grade. This season has probably been one of the most fun out of all my 4 years. Connecting with my team and just traveling with them, sharing those small moments on those trips is very fun. It's basically what I love the most. We went to UCA Nationals in Orlando a little bit ago, and it was very successful. We received first in our traditional routine, and that was like my last trip with this team. This trip was probably my favorite out of all the ones that we've done before. I got to bond on a very deeper level with many of them, even some coaches, and the win was basically just a cherry on top for all of us. Shout out to the coaches. They are probably the most amazing people I've ever met. They are what got us to where we needed to be.
Members of the varsity cheerleading team include Megan Becker, Ruby Cranbrook, Kaylin Crosley, Lily Davis, Isabel Herrig, Samantha Hayes, Noelle Kirby, Ryan Kirby, Mila Lewis,
Stella Martin, Madison Reese, Lyndon Reinhardt, Grace Severson, Reagan Ties, Claire Tungseth, Molly Yanda, and Lily Zebarth.
The junior varsity cheerleading team also had a stellar season. They qualified for state competition in the traditional routine division, where they placed 4th overall. Let's hear more about their season.
Hello, I'm Ann. I'm one of the junior varsity coaches alongside Marcy Adams. The 2022-2023 season was really special for us. We haven't had a JV program at the high school in about 8 years. This year, we cheered along the sidelines at all of the home football games. We participated in community events, and 4 local competitions, including the MCCA State High School Cheerleading Championship, where we placed 4th. The girls worked really hard this year, and we couldn't be more proud of them.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Waddell Toohey, and I'm in 8th grade at MMW. I joined cheer because I wanted to be a cheerleader since I was a little girl. This has given me the perfect opportunity to learn more about cheer and make new friends. I think our team did very well for being the first JV team at Minnetonka in a while. Every individual on this team did amazing, and they should be proud of themselves and all they accomplished. Thank you.
Members of the JV team include Elena Botten, Madeline Boynton, Quinn Carlton, Autumn Drews-Pulowski, Avery Fox, Leah Getlin, Marlo Goodwin, Kinley Hurst, Isabel Levon,
Zakia Lagans, Valentina Longo-Schumer, June Mackey, Sophia Noah, Ali Pleckenpole, Vivian Seneschal, Nora Trombley, Caitlin Waddell Toohey, and Callie Wilson.
Both varsity and JV teams are coached by head coach Andre Brewer, along with assistant coaches Marcy Adams-Helgren and Corbin Dan Weaver and Whitney Wilson.
The middle school cheerleading team qualified for state as well, placing 7th.
The team is coached by head coach McLaren Manbury and assistant coaches Michaela Amberg and Haley Walker.
Members of the middle school team include Eris Burwell, Isla Deutsch, Audrey Doyle, Julia Funderburk, Eloisa Garcia Mancia, Kendall Gray, Lily Herrig, Hannah Hatzug, and Cora Hendrickson.
Ava Hounshell, Karina Johnson, Elise Jordan, Natalia Mesa, Kate Owsley, Quinn Schroeder, Anna Schuster, and Sienna Steichen. Congratulations to each of you.
The boys varsity alpine ski team achieved great success this season with a repeat state championship win.
This win was an important one for the team. They dedicated their season to a class of 2020 teammate who passed away this fall. Now we will hear more from the team about their season through a video they created.
Hello, my name is Steve Reddington. I'm one of the senior captains on the Minnetonka High School team, and I would like to thank you for your support throughout my 4 years on the Alpine team. Thank you.
Hi, my name is JD Landstrom. I'm a 12th grader and member of the Minnetonka Alpine Ski Team. Overall, our season was filled with highlights, going undefeated in all of our conference races, winning the section, and winning state as a team.
Hi, my name is Marley Barrett. I'm a senior at Minnetonka High School, and I wanted to thank Minnetonka Schools for supporting our journey to Alpine State Champs. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Steve Conlon. I'm a sophomore. I just want to say thank you to the school board for supporting the Alpine team.
My name is Oscar Anderson. I'm a freshman, and thank you for your support.
Jack Whipson, grade 10. Thank you for the support. Means a lot.
I'm Connor Cox. I'm in 9th grade. Thank you for your support.
I think the most important thing to note on is that back in the fall, we lost a former member of our team, Nate Stratton. He was a student at Indiana, and he was killed by a drunk driver in the fall. We seniors, we actually knew Nate as freshmen. When he was a senior, we raced with him for a year. And we also grew up racing with him. He was a good childhood friend of mine, and we used to carpool to races and practices together. So it was a loss that really hurt. Nate really embodied what it meant to be a ski racer. He loved the sport like no one else I've ever met, and he was all in on winning everything. I know he had a great career with Minnetonka Alpine Ski Racing, but he never actually won a state championship himself, and so I think that really motivated us this year, was to go out and try and win that state championship in Nate's memory.
Thank you so much, Alpine team. The state championship team members include Oscar Anderson, Marley Barrett, Stephen Conlon, Connor Cox, J.D. Landstrom, Stephen Reddington, and Jack Whipson.
2 girls varsity team members also qualified for state and had great races as part of the competition. Congratulations to Stella Stinnett, who placed 8th overall, and to Marissa Whitty, who was the state runner-up. Both the boys and girls varsity teams are coached by Dave Gartner. Great work, all.
The boys varsity Nordic ski team qualified for state, as did 2 members of the girls varsity team.
The boys team placed 13th in state.
Let's hear more about this season from the team.
Hi everyone, this is Sean Kern, the head coach of Minnetonka Cross Country Ski, or Nordic Ski Team as we call it. I'm really happy to report that we had a tremendous season. Both the boys and girls teams raced incredibly fast and just continued to build off of previous year's success. And in terms of success, it was one of our best years for results. Qualifying a boys team from the section and then having a couple of girls individuals as well. I want to congratulate Caleb Hunter, Zach Eisenman, Jack Callanan, Jack Malik, Isaac Wilkie, Max Westerland, and Hing Fong Kong as the boys team racers at the state meet, and Nina Feggi and Elena Hicks as the 2 girls individual racers. You all represented our team amazingly well at the state meet. Really put your heart into everything that you did, and I'm really proud of your accomplishments.
My name is Sing Fong, and I'm a 10th grader that's on our Minnetonka Nordic Ski Team. This year, we made it to state for the first time in 15 years, and we couldn't have done it without our amazing upperclassmen and coaches. Our upperclassmen skiers always helped motivate our team to race with spirit and determination, and our coaches always helped us with preparing for ski races and other cool events. I would lastly like to thank my parents for always driving me to practices and races. Without these people, I don't think my season would have been as successful. And for me, the most impactful part of my season was the moment I realized that I made it to state.
The Nordic skiing state qualifiers include Jack Callanan, Zachary Eisenman, Caleb Hunter, Hing Fong Kong, Anders Layton, Jack Malik, Matthew Siegwart, Max Westerland, Isaac Wilkie, Nina Feggi, and Elena Hicks.
The team is coached by Sean Kern. Congratulations.
Congratulations to the cast and crew of Minnetonka Theater's one-act play, Honk and Holler. Not only did they qualify for the state one-act competition this year, they were state champions. They earned a Class AA star rating for their performance.
The one act is based on the life of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, telling the story of a case she worked on early in her career. Before we recognize the cast and crew, let's hear more about the show.
Hi, I'm Lauren Bartelt, one of the directors of the One Act Play, and I want to congratulate our cast and crew on winning the state championship. The One Act this year was really unique in that it was an original piece, completely original, adapted from a podcast by Radiolab about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the fight for equal rights for men and women. The students were so passionate both about the process of creating this piece and the subject matter, and their hard work and dedication really paid off. As your coach, I will always treasure this experience with this special group of students.
So the most impactful part of our One Act Play this year was having the opportunity to share an important story with a lot of people. This was an originally written piece, so there's a lot more pressure on the cast and directors to not only get the characters right, but the plot, the lines, the story. And what I'm most proud of is the fact that we pushed through all the challenges and delivered a life-changing 30-minute piece. It was an honor to be part of the show, all the way to the state competition.
Hi, my name is Reagan Allman. I'm a senior and a part of the Minnetonka Theater one-act competition team this year. Something that was just really special about this particular one act that we did this year was the fact that we, as a community of artists, as actors, as crewmates, as directors, and the creative team, we really got to come together and work super collaboratively on a new piece of theater that's inspired by a podcast released by Radiolab. We were really just compelled by this amazing story of one of the early women's rights cases that Ruth Bader Ginsburg argued at the Supreme Court. And we got the opportunity to take that story and figure out how we portray it on a stage in 35 minutes in a way that can educate people about the history of women's rights, but also just show the amazing work of women throughout history to fight for equal rights. And it was just so special to do that, especially with our just wonderful team of people. I just have so many dear friends that were also in the one act with me, and getting to work together and create a piece of art that is so important and so special, and then getting to share that with lots of different people as we went around and competed this year was something that's just so special, and I'll take it with me wherever I go.
Hello, my name is Olivia LaFontaine. I'm a sophomore, and I was one of the ensemble members in Honk and Holler. Honk and Holler was such a tremendous experience, from the story, writing that story from the ground up, to working with an incredibly talented cast and crew. I felt like I became so connected with everyone by the end of our run, and I feel so much more connected to the story and my place in it, and it was just such a wonderful and treasured experience for me.
Cast members include Reagan Alleman, Aaron Gailey, Haley Guptill, Chase Kickhafer, Olivia LaFontaine, Evelyn Ring, Audrey Sedura, Sadie Stillman, and Naomi Vega.
Crew members include John Armstrong, Isabella Bloom, Ella Bricker, Marcus Carlson, Mason Hagan, Sylvie Oakman, and Catherine Tran.
Congratulations also to Minnetonka Theater staff advisors Trent Boyum, Lauren Bartelt, and Nathan Humison.
Esports is a newer varsity team at the high school, but in the few years students have participated, they've had great success at the state level.
Minnetonka teams placed first in state in 2 categories this year, and more students qualified in 3 additional categories.
Let's hear more about this competition from one of the student team members.
Hi, my name is Riley. I'm a senior, and since freshman year when the original esports team started, I have been playing League of Legends competitively with my friends. Last year was the first time that we had won anything with the regional championship for the Central Time Zone through Play Versus. We won both the fall and the spring tournaments for that year, and then this year we won the state tournament for Minnesota through MNVL. Which was a pretty good culmination to our final season as seniors. I would like to thank both of the Tylers that work in the counseling office and as coaches for the esports program. Over the past 3.5, 4 years, they have worked extremely hard to grow the program into what it is now. And I strongly believe that esports has become a great place within Minnetonka for full inclusivity, where any student can join any team with any skill level and have a great time and make new friends.
The League of Legends state champion team include Riley Gonzalez, Alexander Janes, Nelson Pendengroth, Benjamin Rybar, Benjamin Trin, and Henry Wilson.
The Valorant state champion team included Charles Kinsicki, Joseph Larson, Aaron Lowe, Taisir Nabi, and Christopher Richens.
Joshua Larson and Owen Wari qualified for state in the varsity Rocket League category. Drake Riga and Isaac Walker qualified for state in the junior varsity Rocket League category, and Nathan Dowdy qualified in the Super Smash Brothers category.
The team is coached by Tyler Strom. Great work, everyone.
First LEGO League is an international program that challenges students to grow their skills in teamwork and STEM.
Team Spike Plus, a first LEGO League team from Minnetonka Community Education, qualified for the state competition. The team earned 2 first-place awards at state in the robot design category and the head-to-head category.
The team is coached by Wilbert Go and Alan Jivanathan. Let's hear more about the team's accomplishments.
My name is Wilbert and I'm parent coach for our first LEGO League team named Spike Plus. The team has 8 out of 10 kids from our Minnetonka School District, 4 kids from MMW, Alden Go, Asher Jivanathan, Bennett Lang, and Isaac Wilford, and 4 kids from Excelsior Elementary, Adlai Jivanathan, Ames Jivanathan, Francis Go, and Surij Giant. We are so proud of the team's accomplishments this season. They were champions in the regionals tournament last December and qualified for state championship. And at the Minnesota State Championship in early February, the team won first place in robot design and first place in head-to-head robot tournament among the 445 teams in the state of Minnesota. The kids learned practical engineering excellence while having fun with their friends.
My name is Francis and I am a 4th grader in Excelsior Elementary. I am a part of first LEGO League team named Spike Plus. Our team won first place in the robot head-to-head tournament and first place in the robot design during Minnesota State Championship. We had lots of fun and ate yummy snacks. We also did coding and building LEGO robots and attachments.
My name is Surij Giant and I'm a 4th grader from Excelsior Elementary School. My first LEGO League experience taught me a lot about STEM and further advanced my knowledge and understanding about creating robots with Legos. I am most proud of the fact that my team won the head-to-head tournament award and we also won the robot design award, both in first place.
My name is Adlai and I go to Excelsior Elementary. My favorite part about FLL is having fun with friends and learning cool new things.
My name is Abe Tipanelli. I go to Excelsior Elementary. My favorite thing about FLL this year was innovating, programming, and design.
Hello, my name is Alton, and I am in 7th grade at MMW. I am part of our first LEGO League team called Spike Plus. Our team did well this season, advancing to the state championship and winning first place in robot tournament and design. We had fun, playing and working with my friends and going through ups and downs together. First LEGO League helps me by improving my skills in teamwork, coding, and building.
Hi, I'm Asher and I go to MMW. There was a lot we did in the FLL this season. We got to learn, we got to build, we got to design, and we got to innovate. We innovated a 3D functioning wind turbine we call the Tornado. It was omnidirectional and it was elevated so the wind could blow it. We got to build and design, and we did mission groups, and we got over 350 points working on these groups. We also, finally, we got to learn. We learned that wind travels at different speeds at different heights, and we also learned that if we divide and conquer, we can get anything done. Friendship was a big part of FLL this season. We made a lot of new friends, and that will sure last a long time.
Team members include Alden Go, Francis Go, Suraj Giant, Adlai Jivanathan, Ames Jivanathan, Asher Jivanathan, Bennett Lang, and Isaac Wilford. Congratulations.
Science Bowl competition is a fast-paced Q&A format similar to Jeopardy! Students are quizzed on questions in biology, chemistry, earth and space science, energy, mathematics, and physics.
This year, the Science Bowl team placed 3rd at state. To excel the way our team did, students must truly have a well-rounded and comprehensive knowledge of the sciences. Let's hear more about this competition from one of our students.
I'm Varun, I'm a senior, and I think the biggest takeaway from my Science Bowl experience, other than the happy fact that we did so well in the competition, was just being able to have fun with my friends and learn more about science and also be able to bond with my peers. Overall, it was a very fun and fulfilling experience, not just because of the competition, although that was a nice bonus. It was just being able to bond with my classmates and my peers.
Congratulations to the following Minnetonka High School Science Bowl team members: John Holtgren, Mihir Kurana, Krish Inba Rajashankar, Barun Viswanathan, and Jerry Zhang.
The team is advised by Allison Peterson.
Middle schoolers from Minnetonka Middle School East formed a math and science club this year, and several club members had great success in both areas.
3 teams participated in the State Science Bowl competition in the middle school division, with one placing first and earning a trip to represent Minnesota later this spring at the National Science Bowl competition in Washington, D.C.
In math, another club team competed in the 2023 Minnesota Math Counts competition sponsored by the Minnesota Society of Professional Engineers, placing in the top 2 to advance to the state competition in March. 3 individuals placed in the top 6 out of 130 students from 11 schools. They are Michael Luo, Jacob Lee, and Addison Shi.
Let's hear more from the MME Math and Science Club members.
Hi, I'm Michael Lua, and I'm the founder of the Math and Science Club at MME. We had weekly meetings this year to prepare for 2 team competitions, Math Counts and Science Bowl. In the Math Counts regional competition, our MME team won first place. 3 of our students were among the top 6 ranking individuals, and 5 of our students were state qualifiers and will compete in the state tournament in mid-March. In the Science Bowl state competition, all MME teams did very well. One of our teams won the state championship and will represent Minnesota in the Science Bowl National Finals in Washington, D.C. at the end of April. Our all 6th graders team also ranked 5th place in the state. We want to say a big thank you to Mr. Dimmitt, Mr. Monahan, high school science bowl coach Miss Peterson, and team captain Jerry Zhang, and also a big shout out to Mr. Mitch Elfback for generously giving his time to support our club and share his experiences. This is our National Science Bowl team that will be competing in Washington, D.C. in April.
My name is Jacob Lee. I'm in 8th grade, and my favorite subject in Science Bowl is physics. I like to play competitive cricket.
Hello, my name is Alex Wren. I'm in 10th grade, and my favorite subject in Science Bowl is general science. I love to play competitive cricket.
Hi, my name is Michael, and my favorite subject in GimKit in science bowl is chemistry, and one of my favorite hobbies is absolutely demolishing Evan in GimKit capture the flag.
Hi, my name is Evan Trong, and I'm in 7th grade. My favorite subject in Science Bowl is biology. Contrary to what Michael said, my favorite hobby is beating Michael in competitive cricket.
My name is Addison, and I am in 7th grade. My favorite science subject is biology, and I like reading random interesting stuff.
My name is Sam, and I am a 7th grader at MME. This year our team qualified for Math Counts States, and I think my most impactful thing for the team was getting 7th in the chapter. And I'm most proud of getting a 37 and our team getting 1st in the chapter. And I want to thank my parents for driving me to Math Counts and my team.
The Math and Science Club members include Jacob Lee, Science Bowl and Math Counts; Michael Luo, Science Bowl and Math Counts; Alex Wren, Science Bowl and Math Counts; Addison Shi, Science Bowl; Evan Trong, Science Bowl; Sam Wu, Math Counts.
The Math and Science Club is advised by Ting Ting Zhu with assistance from MMW science teacher Mitch Elfback.
Since 1923, Scholastic Art and Writing Awards program has provided opportunities for teens to be recognized on a state and national level, earn scholarships, and have their artwork and writing exhibited and published.
The competition is open to students in grades 7 through 12. All submissions are judged on originality, technical skill, and the emergence of a persona, vision, or voice.
We are pleased that so many Minnetonka students submit original creative work to the program every year. This year, 24 Minnetonka students have earned top honors for art, including 16 honorable mention awards, 9 silver keys, and 9 gold keys. 14 students earned awards for writing, including 3 honorable mention awards, 8 silver keys, and 8 gold keys.
Let's hear from a few of our student award winners.
I'm Eduardo Perez Rivera, and I'm a sophomore at Minnetonka High School. I'm excited to receive an honorable mention from the Scholastic Art Awards for my photography. I took a photo of some flowers, but from an angle that we don't normally see. in the school because it gives a different perspective on something that we see all the time. Thanks again for recognizing my work, and I hope to keep sharing more unique photos in the future.
Hello, my name is Kira Davies. I am being honored as a 2023 Gold Key recipient for the Scholastic Writing Awards. I am a current junior at Minnetonka High School. I love to write. It's honestly my favorite thing to do at this point. I was inspired by a random Katy Perry song that happened to be on my playlist at the exact moment that I needed an idea. It's a lovely little sapphic piece, well, I like to think so, entitled The Moment Alone in the Moonlight in the science fiction and fantasy category. I really love to write. I'm pretty sure I already said that, but I honestly didn't expect this kind of success or any at all. I'm just really excited to see where this goes next. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Harrison Cowder. I'm a junior from Minnetonka High School. I got into film photography when my grandfather bought me a film camera when I was 14. Not knowing what film was, fast forwarding 3 years where 99% of my pictures are taken on film, and I've even learned to develop some of it at home. Two things I'm grateful for is, one, the film community for being very supportive and creativity, and two, for Minnetonka for providing such resources for a dying art medium.
Hello everyone, my name is Kristenza Nielsen and I'm a freshman. I recently won a gold key for my short story titled A Violin's Tale. This story at its center relates to my own experience with the violin, though I use myriad other characters and a violin for a narrator to relate that experience. The story features the more magical facets of learning an instrument, but also details challenges that I think are universal to dedicating yourself to anything. Not only has this story allowed me to think creatively about one of my favorite hobbies, but winning this award shows me that others can relate to my experience. That alone is a great honor.
Congratulations to Minnetonka's 2023 Art Honorees: Noah Barenwald, Abigail Bent, Naomi Berg, Evelyn Christopher, Cole Click, Sasha Cox, Lucia Finch, Mae Fritzke, Sierra Grad, Reagan Haffer, Giovanni Henry, Gloria Jorzak, Harrison Cowder, Grace Lucy, Anders McNeil, Claire O, Carmen Papp, Eduardo Perez Rivera, Camila Piedrahita, Ali Preston, Levi Roach, Sean Rook, Kiara Squires, and Leah Stelmacher.
We also congratulate our 2023 writing honorees: Grace Babe, Ella Buffington, Josephine Chose, Kira Davies, Lily Camrath, Samantha Lee, Elizabeth McCallum, Kristenza Nielsen, Carmen Papp, Lucas Temiroca da Silva, Nicholas Rowan, Lucy Snow, Toby Thomason, and Mingwei Yo.
Congratulations also to the following high school teachers who have supported our students in their creative endeavors: Meg Kennitzer, Jonathan Mackey, Rebecca Marks, Steve Nugent, Paul Olson, Anne-Marie Wadeen, Sarah Young, and Kelly Kangas.
The Music Listening Club is an extracurricular opportunity at Minnetonka High School. In this nationwide contest, students develop skills in active listening and critical analysis by learning to identify musical composers, cultures, periods, and styles.
This year, 3 Minnetonka students qualified for the state level competition, where they placed 5th overall.
Music listening team members include Abigail Hudson, Gabriella Hudson, and Savannah Larson.
The team is advised by Sarah Finn Summerfield and Kevin Kleindl. Congratulations to each of you on this achievement. 4 Minnetonka Orchestra students have been selected to take part in the Minnesota Middle School Level Honors Orchestra, a special opportunity for our musicians to play with others from across the state.
Before we recognize each student by name, let's hear from a few of our students.
My name is Anjali Janti, and I'm in 8th grade. I learned a lot from Minnesota's Middle Level Honors Orchestra. It was definitely a long day, but it was a great opportunity to work with peers who are like-minded, and I got a lot of new friends out of it. I think one of the most valuable things was the phrasing and technique that I learned, and I've come out with a newfound passion for music.
Hello to everyone watching this. My name is Anya Golakova, and I'm a 7th grader who got accepted into the Minnesota Mid-Level Honors Orchestra on the double bass. This is an orchestra that got together on February 17th, did a 7.5-hour-long rehearsal, and then performed downtown on the 18th with 6 pieces. I had to audition by recording myself playing a 2-octave scale in an excerpt. The most meaningful part of me being there was that it all felt really professional, and the competition for the entrance was really high, so I feel special because I got in.
Congratulations to the following students: Anjali Jayanti, violin, Jacob Lee, viola, Sophie Bleezer, bass, and Anna Golovkova, bass.
We'd also like to recognize our middle school orchestra teachers, Daniel Erickson and Michael Janning. Great work.
The last honor we will recognize this evening is an individual award from the Music Association of Minnetonka Young Artist Program and the Minnetonka Symphony Orchestra.
The program promotes the artistic development of young musicians by providing accomplished students the opportunity to perform as a soloist in concert with the Minnetonka Symphony Orchestra, as well as awarding selected students a monetary prize to support their further studies. The competition has been in existence for over 20 years.
Students from throughout the Twin Cities auditioned in late 2022, and the grand prize winner was Christian Garner, an 8th grader from Minnetonka Middle School West. Christian is a Spanish immersion student and resident of Minnetonka. He's been studying trumpet for over 5 years and is currently a student of Robert Dorer. He is in his second year as principal trumpet at the Greater Twin Cities Youth Symphony's top touring ensemble.
Now we'll hear from Christian.
Hi, I'm Christian Garner, and I'm an 8th grader at MMW, and I won the Young Artist Award from the Minnetonka Symphony Concerto Competition, which means I get to be the featured soloist and play my trumpet concerto with the symphony. It's a great experience to finally be able to play it with an orchestra instead of a piano, because it adds so much color to the piece, and I'm really looking forward to it on March 5th.
Congratulations again, Christian. That concludes our recognition program for this evening. Thank you again for celebrating with us.
The March School Board meeting will begin shortly.
Good evening. I'd like to call the March 9th, 2023 Minnetonka School Board meeting to order. Can we all rise and say the pledge to the flag? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Could I please have a motion to adopt the agenda for this evening?
So moved.
Don't forget to hit your mic.
So moved.
Mark, is there a second?
Second.
Megan? Any additions, changes? No? Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? We have an agenda for this evening. All right, the first item of our agenda this evening is our school report from Excelsior Elementary, and I think we have some very exciting guests here. Oh, sorry, the vision video. You're right. I skipped ahead, didn't I? Thank you. Our first agenda item is actually the viewing of the vision video. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, as you're well aware, last spring you worked collectively to review and recreate the vision of the Minnetonka School District. Our talented communications department has worked with students, staff members, board members, district leadership to put that vision video, or the vision that you created, into a video so that it'll be available for all members of the community and the world to see. You saw it at the work session. This is our first viewing publicly. Director Getty.
Thank you, Superintendent Law. We were really excited to work on this. This was our vision for the future document that we worked off of, and we tried to create a video that mirrored it and that really showed how Minnetonka Schools has earned that reputation for excellent teaching, for exceptional student achievement, and outstanding financial management. And so our videographer Andy Smith and I worked together on a script. We ran that by then Chair Chris Vitale. He said, put together a video and let's show it to the board. We showed that to you at the last study session, and you approved that, and now we'd like to show it for the public. So with no further ado, Andy, would you please roll the vision video that you worked so hard on?
Hi, I want you to use your imagination. I want you to use your imagination. Think hard. Picture this in your mind.
Imagine a school district dedicated to child-centered excellence.
Challenging and supporting all students to reach their highest level of academic and personal achievement.
A district that connects with families as early as possible
and designs an ever-widening variety of opportunities for student growth at every level.
Attracting, developing, and supporting the highest quality teachers and other educational professionals.
A district that is prudent and innovative, managing public resources.
A district that tailors learning to each student.
Now, look around you. Go on, take a look. It's here. It's Minnetonka Public Schools.
Each student is unique. We celebrate each one of them.
And produce graduates ready for future pursuits, lifelong learning.
Your student will be ready to excel, lead, and inspire their peers,
their colleagues, their families, their communities, their country. That is our vision.
That is what we have built. It's what we continue to build. This district is always changing its thinking because they change ours.
So that's what we have to present to the public and to you, and another thank you to Andy Smith, who did such a nice job editing that video.
Thank you very much, Dr. Getty. It is a fabulous video, and thank you very much, Andy, for all the great work, and to those that were in the video as well. Does anybody have any comments or questions for Dr. Getty about the video? No? All right. Well, thanks. Fabulous. We look forward to using it. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right, now it really is the school report from Excelsior Elementary. Superintendent Law.
Thank you, Chair Wagner. Members of the board, there's a lot of excited people here to talk about Excelsior Elementary. Each month, our school board at a televised meeting shares highlights from a specific school, including a connection to the school board goals and a showcase of what's happening at the school. Tonight we have from Excelsior Elementary, Principal Stacy DeCourcy and Assistant Principal Emily Wisemore. Welcome.
Good, thank you. Hi, thank you for having us tonight. It's beautiful outside, actually. It wasn't bad coming in. So I did want to introduce you to our new assistant principal at Excelsior Elementary. I'm not sure you've met Emily Wisemore, but I'll let her tell a little bit about herself.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm Emily Wisemore, new to Minnetonka this year, and I've been working in elementary schools in Eastern Carver County for the last several years, coaching across the entire district, and really excited to actually be here in Excelsior Elementary every day with our amazing kiddos. So thanks for having me here tonight.
We did bring some friends tonight, and let me tell you what this is all about. We're very excited. A little over a year ago, Kelly Peterson, our Harbor program teacher, came to me and she said, "What do you know about Best Buddies?" And I said, "I know nothing about Best Buddies. Why don't you fill me in?" And she said, "I'd really like us to be part of it." She had been part of the organization for a long time and said, "I'd like to have the first elementary chapter in the state of Minnesota at Excelsior." And I said, let's do it. Let's go for it. Soon after that, we had just a phenomenal year. Lots of great things happening with Best Buddies. And then the Best Buddies organization asked us if we would do a video for them that is, Kelly, is it shown nationwide, worldwide? Yeah, so the video is being shown all over, and we're just very proud and would like to share that with you tonight. So without further ado, and then I'm going to introduce you to some pretty special kids. So we'll watch the video now.
If there's ever been a time in the world that we need to be connected, it's now. Excelsior Elementary is a special place. We've always been about belonging and inclusivity, but Best Buddies gave us the tool to actually teach students how to be caring and how to be kind to others.
We have Best Buddies program lessons taking place in every single classroom. So the topics, the discussions, the videos, the books, they are all being read and explored in every classroom. And that is the power of our Best Buddies program at Excelsior. It has just opened so many doors of curiosity and friendship and joyfulness that even I didn't anticipate.
They have true, meaningful friendships, and we hope to foster those early so that they can continue to grow.
We have a specific lesson that is taught during a specific week.
When you go into a morning meeting where a Best Buddies lesson is being taught, you're going to see kids thinking. They're going to be practicing the skills that they're learning.
We teach kids to be better human beings. We tell kids to recognize that we are all different. Even though we have those beautiful differences, there are so many things that we have in common.
It's magic. It truly is magic. And it's made a huge difference in the building.
Teachers become teachers for a reason. And when they hear the depth of the conversation, they see the magic of Best Buddies.
I truly believe that Best Buddies program should be in every elementary building.
Today, we are going to show our very best selves. Am I right? Kaya is loud and she is enthusiastic. I would say she is very, very expressive, and she does not necessarily need to use words the same way we do. She has a device that she communicates with on an iPad. She's bright.
It's really great that
She's
you're
a
here.
reader. She knows how to do math. Kaya has Angelman syndrome. Kaya is joyful, and I feel happier when I am around Kaya.
Max and Kaya have a special bond. So they have a nonverbal, incredible relationship. She communicates with her smile and with her energy and with her hand. And Max understands Kaya, and they just have this incredible symbiotic relationship.
I just got to know Max last year, and I can tell you, even though Max is a third grader, that Max is one of the finest human beings I've ever met in my life.
it started in 2nd grade. We would always like move our seats around every time. So the next seating arrangement time, I asked if I could be next to Kaya, and so then I was, and then that's how we became really good friends.
One of the reasons why Max was put on this earth was to be Kaya's friend. He just knew right away how to be Kaya's friend. I believe that the Best Buddies program helped empower Max. I believe that their friendship is true.
Mostly we just played together.
The Best Buddies program opened some doors for the two of them to get to know each other more.
So it makes people with disabilities, without disabilities, it brings them together so like people with disabilities can have a chance.
Kaya and Max represent the beauty of friendship with no judgment. It's the kind of friendship we would want for all time, with all people.
Sometimes they can have a good friendship and stuff like me and Kaya do. Yeah. Well, I hope that we're all friends forever.
And if we could learn from that, imagine what the world would be like. That is the example we should all learn from these 2 3rd graders.
Nice job, guys. Well, there are 3 very special people, yes, that I would like to bring up and introduce you. Kelly Peterson, if you would bring your 2 friends, Max and Kaya, up. Come on up, you guys. You can say hello. Oh, maybe not. We can say hello right from there. You want to go with Max? Oh, there we go. Yeah, she's got her buddy's friend. Do you guys want to come up and say hello? Oh, that's okay. It's okay. A little shy. Yeah. Max, is there anything that you'd like to say tonight at all about Best Buddies or about your experience?
Sure. So, me and Kaya are friends. Like, we were friends. How do I explain this? It's confusing.
Like even in the summer, does she come to your baseball games?
Yeah, she did. She comes to my baseball games sometimes. Yeah. We play together at recess a lot. Right?
How does she make you feel?
She makes me feel really happy and playful, joyful.
Yeah. It's just real. Yeah. It's just real.
All right. It looks like Miss Kaya has something too. Yeah. Oh, she's gonna take it home. Oh, Miss Kelly, is this for me? Yeah. Kelly, is there anything that you'd like to say? Really, is there?
Thank you for having us. Thank you for letting us share the video. Like Stacy said, we think Best Buddies is an incredible program, and we think the lessons are so valuable. And this is my 25th year teaching in the district, being a center-based special ed teacher. And the one thing that I had always wanted was to spread the word that different is cool and inclusion matters in all of the classrooms. And Best Buddies gives us that chance. Now we get to teach these valuable lessons in all of the classrooms, in the Chinese immersion classrooms, in the Navigator classrooms. And it's not just about disability. It's about including people that look different from us, that have different family dynamics. And I think those lessons are so important, especially in this day and age. And I think you would all agree. So yes, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. We feel very lucky to have the program. So that's what we wanted to share tonight. I want to thank you for giving us the time. I told these two they do have to go because it's almost bedtime, so they are going to have to leave us. But thank you again, Excelsior. It's hard to believe that spring conferences happened. That means we're turning towards the end of the year, and it just is hard to believe. But it's been a good year, and it feels good to be back with most of our kids healthy. It's been great. So thank you so much for supporting us.
Thank you very much, and thanks to all of our special guests. It was so wonderful to have you here, and we're super proud of all the great work you're doing. So thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Awesome. All right, great job. We're going to go ahead. We're not quite at the time for community comments, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our next agenda item, which is the Tonka Online Update and School Report. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, Minnetonka was one of the few districts in the metro that was able to keep an online program going post-pandemic and meet the needs of our community members and our students who thrived working online, as well as students with some unique needs where they can't be physically in person. One of our board goals is to provide the board and the public updates on Tonka Online. Tonight, Dr. Amy Ledoux will be providing that update for the board.
Good evening. Thank you, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, members of the board. Tonight I have with me Joe Hesberg, who is the Assistant Director of Tonka Online and is also a 5th grade teacher part-time at Minnetonka Elementary. He has really been my partner and teammate in implementing or running our Tonka Online K-8 program this year. So I'm going to start out with the less entertaining part following that great last presentation and give you kind of the nuts and bolts of where we're at. And then I'll turn it over to Joe, and he'll have an opportunity to inspire you with the great work that's happening every day in our virtual classrooms through our Tonka Online school. So as you know, our program was approved just over 2 years ago. This is our 2nd year of fully implementing our comprehensive program. You've seen many times the overview of our program, but I think it's always important to just reground ourselves. Some of our core principles or key elements of Tonka Online is really ensuring that we are delivering our district-developed curriculum, that kids in Tonka Online get the same great experience that kids who show up in our brick-and-mortar schools get each day. Additionally, we have Minnetonka teachers teaching that curriculum and interacting with our kids on an ongoing basis. In the K-8 program, it's really a blend of synchronous and asynchronous instruction. Kids are following that regular schedule. They have whole group, they have a small group. At the elementary, it includes morning meeting. At the middle school, we have our wheel classes. Our 8th graders have electives, and they have some music choice. And at the high school level, it's fully asynchronous and really an extension of our long tradition of Tonka Online Supplemental, really going to scale to offer all of our program for kids who want to be learning in a more flexible realm and from a location other than within our school. So earlier this year, I shared with you our enrollment during first semester and kind of shared the profile of who are the kids coming to Tonka Online. And at that time, we saw that the numbers of ongoing Minnetonka students was quite a bit smaller. But as you look at second semester in the lower box, you can see that that's nearly doubled since first semester to second semester. So some of our Minnetonka families, you know, post-pandemic, having had an opportunity to go back to brick and mortar, are now saying, you know, this is the right fit for our family, and we'd like to make that shift. We also focused on who enrolled in Tonka Online last year and how many of those students are continuing with us. And as you can see, of the students that were new to our program who came to Minnetonka for online, we've only lost one student during this current school year that it didn't turn out to be the right fit for. So that's really a positive thing. And then as you look at students new to Minnetonka who came because of Tonka Online, you also see from first to second semester that increased by 13 students. So continuing to grow, and the word is continuing to get out, and I'll talk a little bit about how some of that is happening as well. And then of course, enrollment through a partner district. As you know, this fall we had a new partner in Albert Lea Public Schools, as well as we've had some other smaller partners that we've worked with. And you'll see that's a number that has decreased some. And I think part of that is learning some of the differences of our program compared to other programs that students have previously been involved in. Then if we break down enrollment a little further, I think it's interesting to look at what's happening at various grade levels. As you know, our enrollment at the elementary this fall was a little on the smaller side, with our primary numbers being the smallest. As you look at second semester, though, you can see that those numbers have increased, and we are starting to see some enrollments for next fall as well. At the middle school level, again, starting just under 50 students and increasing by 6 for second semester. And then at the high school level, also seeing increases, although those increases are coming more in students who have fully enrolled in our district, with some of our partner students deciding this wasn't the right fit. So really also up 8 students at the high school level. So moving from 180 to 200 from first to second semester is a trend moving in a good direction. As we talk about staffing, you'll remember that I shared with you in the fall that we had a blended kindergarten and first grade, and at that time those numbers were relatively small. We were at about 10 students total, and we saw increases in those classrooms. And so we had the great opportunity for this second semester to ask our K-1 teacher and our second grade teacher to partner and pilot a different model. They had the good fortune of having been first grade teammates 2 years ago, so they already had a good, strong working relationship. And so for this second semester, we're really testing out how does it work to have 3 grade levels with 2 teachers that can provide grade level core instruction in reading and math, and then provide small groups based on student needs in those same content areas, and still give students, the whole school experience that includes social studies, science, writing, classroom community, and specialists. So that is an exciting work in progress, and we're excited to see how that works out and how our parents feel about that experience as we move forward. At 3rd through 5th grade, we continue with single sections at each grade level. 6 through 8, we have single sections in core content areas, as well as our elective classes. At the high school level, last semester, we had 41 unique courses that students were enrolled in, and you can see that that's increased to 46 for second semester. And again, courses meet all graduation requirements, provide students opportunities to meet state standards, and provide additional supports for students that might be needed. So then I'd like to just turn toward our marketing efforts, because I think our increases are certainly due to the efforts of our communications team led by Dr. Jackie Getty, and really supported greatly by our creative director, Daniel Campbell. So as we look at our marketing efforts, we focused on marketing and outreach really with the goal of building a sustainable enrollment for Tonka Online that would be ongoing. Our marketing efforts in the fall began in November, and that was really starting to think forward, making sure families were aware not only that our program existed for second semester, but that it's a program out there for any student in Minnesota. We did a second tranche that was launched in February. We're using a combination of Google search, targeted emails, and social media marketing. And that includes videos and web content, as well as we've had some great testimonials from students, parents, and teachers. And that really is resonating with the audience. One of the great things that we've been able to do is we often receive unsolicited notes from our families about their experience, and we've been able to pass those on to the communications department, and they've reached out to families, and families have been thrilled to be a part of helping us grow and get the word out about this program. We've had well over 1 million impressions with more than 31,750 clicks from our various outreach efforts that have led people to our Tonka Online webpage. So as we continue with marketing, we're having ongoing and continuous information sessions. And we started with information sessions last spring, but now we've been posting those opportunities at regular intervals. And we have had 49 families fill out a form expressing that they wanted to learn more. About half of them have been K-8 and half 9-12. And when many of the families come to the information sessions, but when they don't, it gives us an opportunity to follow up with them one-on-one and answer their questions or help them learn more about the program. We know also that as we enrolled students last year, applications for online follow a very different cycle than applications for in-person learning. So we saw many enrollments late spring and well into the summer as families continued to look at their options. So right now, we do have a survey out to our existing families, both about their experience, but also about their intent for next year. We've heard from nearly half of them, and of the half that we've heard from, 70% are fully on board for next year. Some are still making those decisions, and some have other plans for their family. So then as we look at just overall marketing performance, this slide really encapsulates our outcomes. In the first 3 months of outreach efforts, our display ads yielded more than 15,600 clicks to our website. Our targeted email campaigns contributed an additional more than 1,700 clicks, and our social media presence offered more than 500,000 impressions. So we know that it's getting people's attention, and they're interested in learning more. Like I mentioned, our current outreach started in February, and that's yielded an additional 1,500 clicks, and through searches, 600 clicks to the website through their searches, and 640 targeted emails, and nearly 17,000 social media content connections. So overall, we've seen really good results. It's been a great investment. This is, all this marketing ease. We average 45 cents is the cost per click on our fall campaign, and our early winter campaign really has only cost us 20 cents a click. So we're getting good results for our efforts among our marketing team, partnering with our teaching and administrative team. And then finally, here are some of the highlights from our marketing. These are some of the examples of the digital marketing presence for Tonka Online from our targeted displays, and as well as organic narrative ads on Facebook, to our online ads that pop up in search and through geofencing efforts, and then our targeting email marketing. So a lot of marketing efforts as we've continued to monitor the landscape of online learning. There are districts that are not maintaining their programs, and we're really trying to target our efforts to make sure families who are choosing online in those areas know about Tonka Online and have an opportunity to learn more so that they can make the best decision for their families. So with that backdrop of where we're at, I'm going to turn it over to Joe Hesberg, who's very excited to tell you about the great things happening in our Tonka Online classrooms. Come on up, Joe. Go ahead and get started.
how do we follow Excelsior? That's just not fair.
There you go. It's all you.
All right. Good evening, Superintendent-at-Law, Madam Chair, board members. I'm excited to share the school report for the newest school in Minnetonka. Even though we do not have a physical space, we do have a presence here in Minnetonka. So how does Minnetonka compare to in-person schools? We're very much the same. You'll see that Tonka Online provides the same quality experiences that their counterparts receive in the brick and mortar buildings. Students who previously enroll in an immersion program have access to language experiences, Spanish, French. You'll see a little shortly that Tonka Online teachers have been careful and deliberate in creating classroom and school community, which is a huge focus that we have this year. One of our newest innovations is to have teachers, as they're able to, be present at material pickup. Every couple weeks, teachers gather materials students need, resources, art supplies, STEM supplies, and they come to material pickup and they just engage with families because we know how important it is these connections are with families to help grow the relationship with their children. During morning meetings and strategic times of the day, teachers create opportunities to address student social emotional learning. Our elementary school teachers saw an opportunity to make online feel more than a program, but rather more of a, they want it to be more than a program, be it more of a school, by creating monthly all-school assemblies. Various grades have participated in service projects to further grow well-rounded students. And finally, just as our in-person schools, we have a dedicated school counselor that works with our families, our students, and our teachers. So you'll see a couple pictures of just things that are going on with Tonka Online K-8. Building community during the outside of the school day. We have social meetups and buddy groups. On the left-hand side, you'll see an elementary school meetup that happened this fall. We've had one this winter and we'll continue to have another one this spring. Families want to connect with each other. We have students who are becoming friends with each other and they want to hang out. We have students in Brainerd. We have students here in Minnetonka. They've found ways that they connect and they just want to hang out. They just want to play together. So teachers have created these opportunities for families. On the bottom left, you'll see a 4th grade teacher. He's rocking out the shades with his class for a class photo. In the right-hand side is a buddy group for 2nd, 3rd, and 5th grade. Just spending time every couple weeks or so, they get together and they hang out, they talk about their experiences and talk online. Matter of fact, a social meetup is in the works for our 6-8 students. This was a result of parent feedback that we received during conferences. This is just a great example of how we're continuously collaborating to create memorable social experiences for our students. I spoke about the monthly assemblies. The teachers are using CARES, the acronym for cooperation, assertiveness, respect, empathy, and self-control. Each assembly, a different grade is leading this topic area. They're having fantastic, interactive, high-engaging discussions. So, kind of getting into the instructional side of things. Instructionally, we know how important feedback is for students and for teachers. In the upper left-hand corner, you're going to see a picture of one of our 2nd grade teachers, Mrs. Bottinger. She is providing feedback on a student's written assignment. She has to do it digitally, so she actually has written on her screen on a picture the student had submitted. We need to be able to provide the same kind of feedback virtually as in-person students receive. On the right side, you're going to see a picture of a student who is providing feedback for their teacher about where they are about counting coins. I know my 1st grader is working on this right now. This way, the teacher has the opportunity to adjust their instruction to meet the needs of their student. Even though we're virtual, we have a lot of hands-on instruction. On the left side, you're going to see a K1 geometry and STEM lesson. These materials were provided by the teacher. They have prepared it for the material pickup that we have every couple of weeks. We have a lot of evidence. I wish I could show you 5 slides of all the activities students are doing. On the right side, you see culinary innovations teacher, Heather Phillips. She's modeling a baking lesson virtually. And this is another example of ways that Tonka Online mirrors experiences of our in-person students. Take a look at this beautiful artwork. Picture on the left, You got this mannequin drawing in the physical space of where the student actually does their learning. I thought that was pretty unique. This is a middle school artwork, and a lot of these materials, again, are prepped for students. We have students that are producing the same type of artwork as our in-person schools are. One of the topics that we discuss a lot in virtual schools is, what does engagement look like? How do we get creative? So how do we engage students online? We have to use what makes us unique. So students on the left, actually, this was just recent, went on a virtual field trip. The topic for this field trip was a lesson on animal adaptations. So we're providing opportunities for students to see things outside of their classroom, their home. On the right side, I thought this was pretty unique. This was a middle school teacher's assignment for a student. They engaged the student by creating a scavenger hunt outdoors, which creates kind of a different learning opportunity rather than their indoor space. So instead of jumping jacks on the carpet in their living room, they're getting outdoors and they're being active. So we really have to think uniquely about engaging our students. Look at those smiles. I spoke about service projects earlier. Third grade recently did a service project for, they wrote beautiful, heartwarming cards to seniors. The feedback was wonderful from the coordinator at this facility. This is a wonderful opportunity for students to inspire kindness in others. I spoke about counselor. We have our own dedicated counselor in Tonka Online K-8. Her name is Tara Risenen. She's also our 6-8 language arts teacher. Some of the activities or services that she provides for all of our K through 8 is she provides lunch bunches. She's a valuable member of our SST, our student sport team. She supports families' needs. We have a very, very diverse population of students that come to Tonka Online. She provides social emotional learning opportunities for families. We have students with anxiety. She's there to support them. Families come to us for resources, financially, outside agencies. She's that go-between that she can support those families. And she also provides crisis. If we have students in crisis, she's there to support those students. National School Counseling Week was a couple weeks ago. Because Mrs. Risenen works with both our elementary and our middle school, Tonka Online secretly created a Jamboard, and we share and to share why that she is a valuable member of our school community. So each grade level did create a little Jamboard screen for her. I laminated it for her, delivered it to her house. She just happens to live in my same city, so. So this was 7th grade. One of the quotes that I picked out of there says, "Thank you so much for the respect and treating us like family. And thank you for being a good counselor and helping me and other people with their problems or questions." We're the same, in person, virtually. Kindergarten, 1st grade, look at those cute drawings. A lot of the statements in here talk about lunch bunches. This is one of the kindergarten, 1st grade, elementary students' favorite times. When Miss Risenen comes to material pickup, it is amazing. I'm actually quite jealous. They come running to her and they give her a big hug. So she's such a valuable person. Sometimes they say Mr. H, but that's okay. I'm not there for accolades. So what are families saying about Tonka Online? Dr. Ledoux mentioned a survey that we had recently sent out. About approximately 50% of our families did fill out this survey. One of the questions on there was how they feel the most important practice for the district to continue working on. Some of the language that you'll see in there is flexible learning, high quality instruction. This makes it a desirable learning destination. Just keep teaching the way that we're teaching. My child is thriving here. We think things are exceptionally well as they are. We're very pleased that the field of the education has been better than being in person, than in a person school with all the distractions. So this is an environment for their child to thrive. One of the other questions asked, why did you choose to enroll in Tonka Online? What are the families telling us? Why do they need this program? Last year, so one family said last year it was due to COVID and uncertainties. And listen to this. This year we chose to stay because of the high quality instruction. So we were able to capture them and we were able to keep them here. My student has anxiety in person, and being in person wasn't for her. And the COVID concerns are top, but this mode has been great for my son in general. So we're meeting the needs of our families. I thought I'd end this with something a little bit fun. Thank you. This is from our 6th grade class. It's another example of one of the ways that we're providing quality experiences inside and outside of the classroom. The squirrel. It's Tonka Online's newspaper. You'll see random facts, jokes, recipes. Are you up to date on your memes? I provided you a copy. Please take the time at your leisure and learn about national parks or weird laws that we have around this nation. I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk about Tonka Online and being able to share our story with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Ledoux or Mr. H? Mark?
Trying to get the technology right. Partnering with Albert Lee.
Yes.
One, do you see that, is that continuing? Is that a one-year thing? Is that continuing? And
We are in the process of working with them to determine if we will continue or if they will continue with us dually. So no final decision has been made. Overall, they've expressed that they've been very happy with the communication, the collaboration, and the opportunities that we've provided their students, but they also had a superintendent change from when the decision was made until now, and so I think they're examining all of their options.
do you anticipate more partnerships with other districts?
We continue to put that out there to other districts. In each spring and summer, we have sent letters over the last 2 years. Superintendent Law and I haven't explicitly talked about that, but I anticipate that we will continue to offer that as an opportunity, especially with school districts that we know have had a program and no longer are maintaining that program.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Megan?
I actually just had a logistical question. So you mentioned the materials pickups. It seems like that would kind of limit the diameter of the area where we can draw student, or how do we address that for students that maybe come from somewhere where they can't drive 4 hours to come get their materials?
One of the questions that we asked is, what are some alternatives? We asked if there was an opportunity to mail resources to you. Is this a viable option for you?
Yeah, we have tried to limit the number of pickups, tried to provide those dates well in advance. Like Joe mentioned, many of the families see it as an outing and an opportunity to connect in person with their school. There have been instances where families can't get here, can't get the materials, and we've certainly sent them. But in the survey, as Joe mentioned, we're in the process of figuring out, is that an option parents want, and are they willing to obviously bear the cost rather than needing to come in? So that's a work in progress.
It's continued growing. Material pickup used to be one day. I offered an evening one just to provide more opportunities for more families. Not everybody, parents work from home, some get off at a certain time. So we're trying to be accommodating to as many families as possible.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else? No? Well, thank you. Oh, sorry, Patrick.
See if I can handle my mask and my technology. I just want to thanks for the report. I appreciated seeing a little more insight into what the experience is like on Tonka Online. We talk a lot about the numbers and the efforts to keep the program vibrant, but seeing what it was like, I thought that was very helpful to me. So thank you.
Anybody else? No? Thanks, Patrick. Thank you both for being here. We really appreciate it, and thanks for all the pioneering work you're doing. So, okay, we have now reached the time for community comments. In the interest of open communications, the Minnetonka School District wishes to provide an opportunity for the public to address the school board. That opportunity is provided at every regular school board meeting during community comments. Recently, the school board reviewed our guidelines for community comments, and with the intent of making our guidelines clearer and our process more transparent, we have made a few small adjustments to the guidelines. I'm going to read the revised guidelines, and then I'll recap the small changes the board made to the guidelines. So the community comments guidelines now read, welcome to the Minnetonka School Board meeting. In the interest of open communications, the Minnetonka School District wishes to provide an opportunity for the public to address the school board. That opportunity is provided at every regular school board meeting during community comments. Anyone indicating a desire to speak to an item included in the meeting agenda, except for information that personally identifies or violates the privacy rights of employees or students, during community comments will be acknowledged by the board chair. When called upon, please state your name, connection to the school district, and topic. All remarks shall be addressed to the board as a whole, not to any specific members or to any person who is not a member of the board. If there are a number of individuals present to speak on the same topic, please designate a spokesperson who can summarize the issue. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Longer time may be granted at the discretion of the board chair. If you have written comments, the board would like to have a copy, which will help the members to better understand, investigate, and respond to your concern. During community comments, the board and administration listen to comments. Board members or the superintendent may ask clarifying questions of you to gain a thorough understanding of your concern, suggestion, or request. If there is any follow-up or response to your comment or suggestion, you will be contacted via email or phone in a timely manner by a member of the board or administration. Please be aware that disrespectful comments or comments of a personal nature directed at an individual either by name or inference will not be allowed. Personnel concerns should be directed first to a principal or executive director of the department, then to the executive director of human resources, then to the superintendent, and finally in writing to the board. So, just to recap the changes that we made, first on the comment card, the speaker's home address and email address are now optional rather than required. We also indicate that one must be provided for the speaker to receive a written response back. New to the guidelines, we have a place on the comment card for the speaker to check the boxes indicating how they're connected to the school district. For example, they can check that they are a parent, a student, a staff member, a resident, a community member, etc. Further in our revision, we clarified that board members or their superintendent may ask a clarifying question when someone is speaking, but that any response or answer directly to the speaker about their remarks will be sent to them via email or mail following the board meeting. We made similar adjustments to our guidelines for citizen input, which is the public opportunity to provide input at our study sessions. So I want to thank all the board members. I think we had a really good discussion about these cards and the changes that led to them, and we've gotten community feedback as well. And so hopefully I think they'll make the process a lot more clear for folks as they're coming in to comment at our meeting. So I don't believe we have anybody today that wishes to address the board, right? Nope. Okay. All right. So then our next agenda item is an update from our nutrition services on staffing and food choice. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, one of the topics that's surfaced routinely throughout the school year is the quality of food that we're serving, options that we have for students, and steps that we're taking to address that and improve that. And I have been meeting with our supervisor and assistant supervisor of nutrition services throughout the year and want to present something publicly about the steps we're taking. I'm excited for some of the changes we're making. There's a lot of potential for improvement over the next 6 months, probably not tomorrow, but soon. And I do want to give a special note of thanks. I've had a hard time connecting with Assistant Supervisor Kristen Turnblad because very often she's out serving or cooking. And I'd have to go out to the schools to find her. And in my time working in school systems, that is unprecedented. Her commitment to make sure kids get food has her give up parts of her job that are required here in the district to be out serving. So I'm excited to share this update with the community, and we'll look forward to upcoming changes. Ms. Bender, Ms. Turnblad.
Thank you. Madam Chair and board members, thank you for having us today. My name is Kristen. I am the Assistant Supervisor of Nutrition Services. I'm also a Minnetonka alum. I will be sharing with you the staffing update for our department. Looking back at last school year, we had 0 applicants, 0 interviews, 0 staff hired, and unfortunately ended the year with 5 resignations. That was due to retirements or just changes in home life. Over the summer, Jane and I went out into the community and posted flyers like you see on the screen at libraries, coffee shops, local community boards, at local businesses. This year, we've also posted several times in the Peach Jar e-flyer, which is a flyer that goes out weekly to parents and guardians. Principals also graciously posted a blurb in their newsletters for us. Mr. Law even posted on his social media. Thank you. PTO and PTAs have helped spread the word that we are hiring. We even posted a flyer at the bus garage in hopes to attract drivers to work a couple hours during the day between their AM and their PM routes. So far this year, we have had 31 applicants, 23 interviews, and have hired 13 employees. Unfortunately, we have had 11 staff resign due to retirement, changes in the home life, new employees that have realized that they don't want to come back into the workforce after COVID, and 4 of our resignations were due to staff transferring to other departments within our district. We currently have 23 open positions. These positions are mainly 4-hour cook helper positions, and a few of those positions are also benefit eligible positions. Overall, our biggest obstacle this year has been staffing. One of the many things that COVID has taught us is that there is more than one way to look at a situation. So thinking outside the box, we increased our entry-level wage to $19.32 per hour with the help of Robin Klinker in HR, working with the Nutrition Services Union. We also increased our substitute rate to $17.85. We are now the highest paying nutrition services program in the Southwest Metro. Even with these great wage changes, we are not seeing any applicants applying. So we continue to think outside the box and will be increasing our current 4-hour positions to 6 hours plus benefits, which will hopefully attract and retain staff. This staffing change will reduce our overall staffing level to 55 employees instead of 72. Why a change in our staffing level, you might ask? The Universal Meals Bill has passed through the House, the Senate Finance Committee has passed the bill, and has passed it on to the Senate. We anticipate that the House and the Senate will settle on a final bill that will approve universal free meals for all students. By increasing our staffing positions to 6 hours plus benefits, it will allow us to be staffed properly for implementing a breakfast program for next school year. You might be thinking, how will you fill your current 23 open positions? We thought outside the box once again, and we are currently researching recruitment agencies so that we can obtain our goal of being fully staffed to 55 employees for fall of 2023. Speaking of staffing, we plan our menus based on staffing levels, which Jane will touch on in a bit. But we wanted to give kudos to our staff for being able to prepare and serve approximately the same number of meals this school year as compared to the 18-19 school year, which was the last full school year before COVID. The last thing I wanted to talk about before handing the presentation over to Jane is comparing our meals served pre-COVID to today. As you can see on this slide, we are comparing number of meals served from the 18-19 school year to the 22-23 school year. This is September through January. Currently, we are serving 5,412 meals per day. Pre-pandemic, we were serving 5,897 meals per day. That is only 485 less meals per day district-wide, or another way to look at it is 53 less meals per school with 34 less staff. We really do have fantastic staff. Thank you for letting me share with you today, and Jane will now take it from here and continue our presentation.
Thank you, Chair, Mr. Law, and Board. Again, thank you for this opportunity. So, speaking of meals, find my down button, there we go. So today we had the opportunity to host those of you that could come for dinner tonight, a meal that was on the menu today. It just happened to luck out to be one of the most popular meals of the school district, both high school through kindergarten. It's called Orange Chicken, and it comes with steamed vegetables, rice, and a bun and milk and several fruit choices as well. This is an example of one of the trays that was served at one of our elementary schools today. I wanted to mention that the pictures now that you'll see from the rest of the PowerPoint presentation here have come from my staff. I didn't give them any notice. I didn't want them to, prepare too much. But I asked them, send me pictures from some of your meals from the last 2 days, and let's see what we, come up with and the different assortments because of all the different things that they are putting out to serve. So I didn't give them a lot of notice, but they were more than happy to comply. And you'll see in the pictures to come that they're very proud of the meals that they serve our students. So staffing levels and how our menus have changed. We had to streamline our menus basically because of the fewer staff that we had. So the first thing we had to look at was the number of entrees that we're offering. We currently were serving one, when we started off the school year, we were serving one hot entree instead of 2, and even 3 at some of the other schools. We weren't able to do any extra entree servings or water purchase for the secondary schools, but we do allow them, for the elementary schools, but we do allow them to at all schools to self-serve their fruits and vegetables. So if they like larger servings, and they won't be charged for them, but they can put those on their trays as well. And we also decided to have secondary students give them a little more responsibility for serving things that were outside of the norm of what they'd serve. For example, serving their meat sauce on top of pasta, serving their own turkey sausage legs, serving their own rice and mashed potatoes, and they're doing just an excellent job of keeping it real. In terms of short-term solutions for our staff and keeping the variety, we assign our staff to work in different kitchens so that they can keep a base level of staff at each school. Usually our staff would report just to one kitchen. They get very comfortable with it, but they've been very flexible in moving around to some of the other kitchens so that we can have an equal number of labor hours in each of the kitchens. We're using compostable trays rather than our washable ones. We've reduced the manager paperwork for some of them because we were able to now run some of our software reports directly to us at the district service center instead of at the sites. We sourced a new a la carte vendor for the high school. Our major a la carte vendor went out of business due to the pandemic, so we did a lot of sourcing there. And where we can, we've changed our ordering to include 2 and 3 week lead times for the manufacturers. We usually would just order just in time. It came in, we got it prepared out the door, and ready for the next order to come in. So that was something new for our staff to get used to. It doesn't always create not having substitutes delivered to us, but it has certainly cut down on them. We're piloting a second pre-made entree option at 2 of our elementary schools. And with the streamed menus and new time management techniques, we added more a la carte entree options to the high school offerings that the high school students were telling us that they would like to see. And this school year, we've added a second cold entree to the high school menu for the school lunch, and we hope to move into a second hot tray by May. So just, I wanted to touch slightly on the supply chain that we're having. Our manufacturers tell us that they're still getting some problems with some of their raw ingredients. Sometimes it's not a big deal that we would think, but it's enough to make them not put all of their products out there. But it could be as small as just maybe a certain spice blend or one spice isn't coming in. It could be that they can't give us certain beverages because they don't have the plastic bottle tops that go with it. So they're still seeing a little bit of that. They've also are struggling with staffing shortages, which also includes truck drivers for them. So even sometimes when they are able to get the foods out, prepared, ready, they still need to have a driver to get them to our vendors as well. Also, the avian or the bird flu has affected us in some of the products that we can get. Our kids love to have breakfast for lunch. It's common in a lot of districts, that a very popular thing, but getting pancakes, French toast, egg patties, turkey products for like the sausage patties that would go along with those, we've had a hard time getting them. We are able to get some of them, but we've had to sometimes wait our turn as things kind of get rationed. It is getting better, and if maybe you've noticed in your grocery stores, the price of eggs is coming down a little bit, and sometimes there's even eggs on the shelves now instead of empty shelves on the weekends, if that's when you go to look. The good news is that we're seeing, along with that, is that we're seeing more and more of our products are being made to our program compared to the beginning of this year, and certainly compared to last year. So I do want to let you know that we do need to meet our USDA requirements, whether we get a substitute or whether we get our products that we have. And we are meeting all of those requirements in terms of protein, grains, fruit and vegetables, and milk daily for each of our meals for our students. This is a picture, coincidentally, of the Excelsior lineup yesterday for lunch. I didn't know that they were coming here. And it was just an extra picture that one of my staff sent me. It was pizza that day. They had pizza and hummus cups. They had salad. They had carrots they could eat plain or dip their hummus with. They had sliced apples and canned pineapple. So I'd like to touch a little bit on the food perception as it pertains to school lunch perceptions. It's kind of easy to poke fun at our program, and good-heartedly too, but we know everyone eats food. We're all pretty much food experts. We know what good food is, we know what we like, and we all have our stories from high school. I know in our high school there was mystery meat, there were mean lunch ladies, there were nice, welcoming, warm lunch ladies. Everyone's got memories, good and bad, about them and in their lunchroom experiences. But things have changed since the 70s, as I date myself. And ketchup is no longer a vegetable, so that's a good thing. But the other piece of it is we do have some flexibility, more flexibility than we used to have in choosing the quality of food products that we specify for our program here in Minnetonka. And we have benchmarks that we look at determining what types of products that we do want to bring in. Even just looking at the sales of our food when we manufacture might bring in a new, for example, we were testing a new macaroni and cheese product. Did the kids eat it? Did the custodians report that some of it was left in the trash or most of it? Or, we take a look at the sales of it, and if we put it out again, were the sales as high? Because now they've tasted it, they know if they might like it or not. So we do a lot of tracking to see what we will bring into our program, and we're trying to track to see what the kids will actually eat and buy. When we look at our overall of school lunch, we also look at participation levels. And participation levels are determined by the population of each school, and then that determines how many students are in that school that can eat lunch with us if they choose to. So we look at the percentage of students that actually purchase lunch for us. As Kristen showed you, our staff is serving almost as many meals as we did pre-COVID. So our participation levels are within a couple percentage of points of hitting to be right back on target. And also, a few schools are actually over. Their participation level has increased from pre-COVID. So really, our staff is just doing an excellent job. This year, we could be well serving even fewer meals than we would normally serve too, just because we did have the triple threat, the illness of the COVID, RSV, and flu too. So with higher absences in the schools, just, a couple of kids can make a big difference. And there's more than just a couple of kids out in some of the schools with a lot of illnesses. And so that does affect how many meals we can serve if the students aren't able to make it to school. We also ask our students, especially the secondary students, what they'd like to see in the a la carte lines. And when we bring in what they request, then we see if they're on target, if their other peers will buy it, if they like it, and then we'll take up shelf spaces. It's something that we'll continue to bring in. And we have seen a gradual improvement especially from last year and into the school year. And we have been able to procure and now have almost all of the same lunch items in stock that we had pre-COVID. I use this week's menu as an example of how we might look at a day's menu on a lunch tray. So this was an elementary menu for Tuesday. They had chicken tenders. And just to give you an idea of, there are different things at different schools. For example, you can see that there's a different fruit on each of the trays, a different fresh fruit on each of the trays. And that's because I do give the cook managers some discretion in determining. Some people say, my kids love grapes, my kids love strawberries, mine hate them. So bring in the fruits that you know that the kids will eat, but then serve them when they're ripe and when they're ready. Don't worry about, I don't want to put a banana on it and then the bananas are all green and they say, well, we had to have bananas because it was menued. So we do have a little bit of discretion there in terms of the quality of the fruit that we put out as well, too. So we have 3 different schools. 2 of the managers know that our black trays, we'd love to get back to the washables with more staff. They really make the food pop. But we are using compostable trays, and sometimes when you eat with your eyes first and you see the white or the paper that you're eating off of, too, that can sometimes affect your perception of the type of food that you're getting. This is an example of the same day, but it's of our middle school. And you can see that if you take most of the things that are offered on the menu that day, you can have a pretty full tray. There's not even a carton of milk next to it, but that would also include milk too. And again, students can choose to have more fruit, more vegetables on the self-serving side, and they won't be charged extra for that. Can you tell we're pushing fruits and vegetables? Again, from yesterday, they had tacos, and I just kind of wanted to show that we've been able to let the kids do a little bit of customizing. So you can get your taco meat on a shell, but then you can decide how much cheese, if you want beans or not, if you want lettuce or not, if you want salsa, and all the other types of condiments, if you want rice or not. And those are all self-serve, that they can make those decisions for themselves. Along the lines of the food specifications, you might recognize some of these brands that you get from your own your own grocery stores. And so I also wanted to show some of these ingredient lists, especially of our protein products, how short they are. We really look to have 100% beef, 100% turkey, poultry. We're looking to not have soy as a binder to increase the protein content. We have had some subs, and we do have some products we're not able to get yet that do have soy, so you will see soy on some of our online menus for the ingredient list, but we're working towards, when it's available, to get our more wholesome foods back with less preservatives as well. I also wanted to note that a lot of the items that you see in the grocery store are not, even though they may be packaged and look the same, it's not the same ones that we can get for food service for our school food. We often have a lower sodium and with a higher whole grain contents, and things may taste a little different to the kids. And so they can say, well, this just doesn't taste good, or it doesn't taste right. We aren't going to taste like McDonald's, and we're not going to taste like grandma or your homemade items that you have at home. It's going to be a little different, just depending on different families and how they cook. Let's see. So, and also the fact that we don't always have the same choices in our school food service products as you would have in your grocery stores as well because of that. And coming soon to a school near you, we are looking at lowering sodium requirements along the way, and also added sugars are now going to be a pretty big topic with the USDA and some of the new regulations that we'll be following. Kids may or may not notice it, but it will hit them. It can hit their palate, and they can say, oh, this isn't good, or there's something wrong. But the good thing about that is that cereal makers now have actually started to make more whole grains in their cereals, less sugar in some of their cereals than they had in the past over the couple of years. So it is kind of nice that they're not running two lines, one for the home and one for the school, that some of these lines are kind of getting put together so that they can taste the same thing at home as they do at school. I just wanted to show this as an example of listening to the kids too. They wanted a second entree. This is looking a little rustic with some paper signs, but we're working with what we have. There's a lot of lead time and equipment as well. And Kristen worked with our staff at our high school after we got a lot of time management things changed, and after we got some new ideas put together. A lot of the items you see there are some of the things that we showcased over dinner when we showed you some of the homemade sandwiches and some of the salads and things. These are entrees. So that if you don't like the hot entree for the day, there are other entrees to choose from. These are a la carte entrees, and we do have some other entrees. We do have like one other cold entree that would be on the school side of, or the school lunch available too. But these are the a la carte entrees that they were asking for. By moving this case over closer to the kitchen, it's easier to refill. It takes less staff to keep it replenished, and it still gives good visibility for the kids to know that it's available to them. So what could we do if we were fully staffed? We would love to get our black trays back. It's easier for the little kids to have something nice and hard and solid to hang on to as well. It makes the colors pop. And our staff, they would have a little bit of relief. I mean, they are working very, very hard to make sure that all of these meals are put out there, that all the a la carte things are prepared. They would have a little relief. And I specifically chose these three gentlemen from our high school because we have a lot of superwomen, super lunch ladies working, but we have some supermen working for us too. And then the last one is we'd be able to do more of our homemade sides that some of the kids have really learned to love. We have really kind of stretched the kids a little bit, and they really came to love. This is a picture of our root vegetable, roasted root vegetables, and they also loved the roasted broccoli sprouts. So we finally, made all this headway. We're buying loads and loads of Brussels sprouts, and but now we have to have that staff so that we can kind of prepare them and do the homemade goodness that it takes time to make. specifically at each school, just what we were, looking forward to. Our end goal is to be able to, at the elementary schools, have 2 hot lunch choices daily, have a cold lunch option for them, and bring back some of the bottled water. And some of those 3rd and 5th graders, they would like to have a second entree and that choice back to them. So we're working towards that as well. In the middle schools, as you'll see, as you get into the higher schools, there's more a la carte things. We are continuing. We do have more a la carte beverages, and we have the snack carts open for them. We'll continue to use our a la carte breakfast and second entrees for them. And of course, we want to start getting into the 2 hot choices for them as well, and a pre-made salad option too. That really went over. We were doing a little of that pre-COVID. That really went well too, even more so than the salad bar. It's just kind of quick grab your salad and go. And at the high school, 3 lunch choices daily, and open up all of our a la carte lines. Currently, we just have 2 out of the 3 opened up. We don't have enough to staff and for cash registers and things, but we do have all the a la carte items out. It's nice to have the kids spread out a little bit when they buy things so that they'll have shorter lines and they can enjoy their lunchtime. And then to continue these other a la carte things. And one of the things that we had in the works pre-COVID was to have a 4th a la carte area opened up, and so we hope to be able to implement that pretty soon too. And finally, I would just like to invite you to join us for lunch anytime. There's our contact information. We'd love to hear from you. And if you would ever love a behind-the-scenes tour, if you'd like to go to a couple different schools, it doesn't matter what day. As you know, we'll try to make ourselves available for whatever is convenient for you. But thank you again, and I'd like to open it up to questions.
Thank you very much. Questions for our nutrition services team? No. Megan?
Just curious, I'm excited about those upcoming. I wish you well with staffing.
Too, yeah.
I know that's really been a challenge with the staffing. Is there any talk about adding a vegetarian option as a second option for students?
In the USDA, it's kind of doesn't really go towards preferences, but a lot of the vegetarian options, sometimes they're inherent, like when we have cheese pizza available, and sometimes we have to make them, and so that comes again with staffing. We have been trying to add more on the a la carte line because some of our a la carte items you can actually get for the same price as a school lunch, so it doesn't really cost them more, but we are trying to put out more of the a la carte items, and actually Kristen could kind of speak to the vegetarian options at the a la carte lines.
So at the high school we have, like you saw tonight, we have a veggie salad. We also have the pizza kit. Looks like a Lunchable that you would find in the store, but it's called Anytimers for us. We also have a second option at the high school right now. It's part of the school lunch program, so it's a second entree they can choose, and that is a bento box. That is a vegetarian option. It has a yogurt in it, so 4 ounces of yogurt, a cheese stick, some Cheez-It crackers, as well as carrot sticks in it. So the students have the option of picking that. We put it on top of our serving line. They can choose that over the hot item that day, and then they can still grab the same fruits and veggies that are on the line, grab a milk, and then they're good to go.
Yeah, sorry, I want to clarify. I kind of meant going forward. I know it's been hard right now, but in the future. So would that maybe second option be added at the elementary level at some point for those students? And you said it's available at the high school right now. Would that be kind of expanded as one of the goals?
Well, part of we try to, and we will be looking closer at that because we are starting to get more references for that more kids may eat it. We have tried it in the past, and maybe the timing was just off. It might be that we can look at it a little bit harder as we get more people, and maybe that would be our cold option or something too, when a hot option wasn't available. But sometimes because of the bulk we buy, sometimes it's very hard. For example, we tried for 5 years, have the garden vegetable burgers, and we would, buy a case every year, and 3 or 4 burgers would be taken out, and after a year you have to toss it. So we buy 20-pound, 30-pound cases. But like I said, I've started to notice a little bit more of a trend and an interest in it, and so if the kids are willing to eat it, we can bring it in.
Other questions for the team? No, anybody? No? All right, well, thank you very much. I know it's a very challenging environment, especially with staffing, as you said, so thanks for sharing and giving us these details.
Yeah, thank you.
And thanks for all your hard work, and please pass it on to your team too, because I know they're really rolling up their sleeves, so.
Yeah, thank you.
And thanks for dinner.
You're welcome.
Yes, and thank you for dinner. Okay, moving on. We're moving on to our next agenda item, which is an update on our MTSS program. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, members of the public, in education, we're notoriously using jargon. MTSS is multi-tiered systems of support. It's the goal to provide a common instruction for all students that meets the needs of about 80% of our students in every classroom. And then tiers of support both within the classroom and beyond the classroom to accelerate for students that are above grade level and to help students who are below grade level catch up. This is a board goal to help meet the needs of all of our students and provide challenge for all of our students at their level. And tonight, Dr. Ledoux is going to give an update on where we are with this work.
Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, members of the board, we're happy to be here tonight. I have along with me 3 members of our district MTSS, multi-tiered system of support leadership team, Matt Riga, Annie Lumbar-Benson, and Christine Breen. And we're excited to give you an update about the progress that we've made so far this year on our MTSS work. So just to re-ground us, we're going to start with a little bit of background. As you know, we have 2 key goals that really impact our work in the classroom each day: excellence in well-being, connection and belonging, and excellence in student learning and support. And we've used these 2 board goals really to help shape our MTSS implementation, how we're developing and implementing our framework, that is. And so this last fall, we created this graphic really to help demonstrate the interconnectedness of the work that we've been doing around MTSS. So as you see on the left side, you see the circle that says ensuring readiness. This really represents our first goal, that whole child development. It's foundational to students' learning. We know that students' well-being and their sense of belonging significantly impacts their learning. And this encompasses our work around social-emotional learning and mental health, as well as our developmental relationships work. On the right side, you see ensuring a robust instructional core. And this really represents our universal instruction, our Tier 1. It represents our emphasis on literacy, the work that we do on an ongoing basis with our district curriculum, including our review process, as well as the many program options that we continue to develop and adjust and grow in response to student needs. The center circle really emphasizes our MTSS framework, where it states responsiveness. And this really is representing how that MTSS framework works across our system. You see that we did circles with arrows, and the idea is that the framework ensures that we are connecting to and meeting the various needs of our students. And we're doing that through our framework that includes universal screening, growing our data literacy among our staff, our universal instruction that includes Tier 1 for all students, Tier 2 intervention and extension, and Tier 3 more intensive supports for students, as well as it represents the PLC process and how our teachers are really collaborating to bring to life the MTSS framework. So just a quick refresher, what is MTSS? When we look at MTSS, it really is a school improvement framework. It's not an initiative. It's not something we implement for a little while and then it goes away. It really provides the frame for all of our work to happen in. It really focuses on identifying and supporting systems for alignment, making sure that we have consistency across the district, across our schools, across our grade level teams, and within our classrooms. It's making sure that we're addressing supports for all of our students. That's thinking not only about when students need more time and support, but when we want to stretch them. It's using evidence-based practices to support the whole child development, again, social, emotional, and academic. It's using our data and the information we have, those feedback systems, to help us make decisions, to solve problems, to make sure that students get what they need and that they're experiencing success. And it focuses on removing barriers to learning at all levels. So you know this has been an ongoing process. Really the work that really was laying the background for the current MTSS work really began back in the 18-19 school year when the school board decided to really emphasize student well-being, and when we did the evaluation with Dr. Deichel to look at how our students were doing on a social emotional level. From that, our MTSS evaluation and our partnership with the Center for Applied Research in Educational Improvement, that we fondly call CARE, as yet another acronym, was born. And we started the first phase of our evaluation really to look at what were the levels of implementation happening across our system of what was previously known as response to intervention, and that we desired to move more toward a multi-tiered system of support. After that first evaluation, we prioritized our work. We created our initial action plan. And simultaneously, while we implemented that, we completed phase 2 of the evaluation that really looked at our special education programming, our identification, and our responsiveness. At the end of last school year, we used the findings from both, phases of the evaluation and developed a 3-year plan prioritizing goals for the district. During the summer, we worked on providing professional learning, both for our building leaders, our district leaders, as well as teacher leaders. And during this current year, as you know, we're implementing year 1 of a 3-year plan. Our MTSS plan really encompasses 5 essential elements: assessment, database decision-making, multi-level instruction, infrastructure and support, and fidelity and evaluation. And these are the common strands that you see in any of the literature around MTSS, as well as in the Minnesota MTSS framework. As a part of our 3-year plan, we condensed those essential elements slightly with combining assessment and decision-making as one core element. Because they were so interwoven, we found that most of the action steps were overlapping, and to call them out separately didn't make a lot of sense. So our year 1 of our plan was shared with you last fall, was shared with staff, and as you can see, it really includes those first 3 elements with the idea that fidelity is interwoven throughout, that we're continuously monitoring, are we implementing what we intended to, and what supports are needed in order to more fully implement what's intended. So as we look at this, our goal really is to deepen the shared understanding and the systems that are in place, so we're getting consistent results. Under infrastructure and support, that's our team structure that we'll talk a little bit more about where we're at tonight, but having those 4 levels of team. A district team that's leading this work, laying the groundwork as well as setting the direction. Our building level teams that are supporting the implementation at the building level. Our PLC teams that are working with teams at the building level, and our SST team that helps address student needs and targeted programming. Tonight, we're going to update you explicitly on our process guide. Matt Riga will be doing that, as well as some of our SEL systems, as well as under assessment and decision-making. We'll be talking a little bit more about our early warning system and our progress with that work. And under multi-leveled instruction, we're going to provide you with an update on both our work around our curriculum review process to support that universal instruction, as well as the professional development that's been happening, and some updates on our Tier 2 and Tier 3. Oh, and I skipped over, under Tier 1, we'll also talk about the progress we've made with social and emotional learning, core curriculum for all, and then under Tier 2 and Tier 3, the work that we're doing to really build out that system, and again, to ensure that we're using the best possible resources and instructional practices to be successful with our students. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Riga to talk some about our infrastructure and our supports.
Thank you. One of the ways that we're addressing the infrastructure and support piece is by creating a process guide. At the recommendation of Carrie, we created this guide this year, and we're in the final phases of it. And one of the important pieces with this guide that we realize, it not only shows the practices that we are currently using in our MTSS system, but it's also aspirational. So we can really grow into this work, and this is why it's really version 1 of the guide as it's going to be released. And we've had lots of feedback, and we're continuing to receive feedback actually this month as principals are sharing the guide with their building leadership teams. But we've had ongoing feedback with the district leadership team, from principals, and really the team I've been able to work with to develop this guide has been terrific. We've had a representative from Carrie. We have our Director of Curriculum, Steve Urbanski, Annalise Peterson, Academic Strategist, and Cindy Andrus, Principal at Minnetonka, have been wonderful and with the ongoing work, and have really leaned into this process. And as Dr. Ledoux was talking about, there are 5 elements being addressed in the process guide, and it's not as if we want people to go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, and that's why I have this graphic here. But as the process guide is released to everybody, there'll be professional learning to help people understand all the pieces of the guide, and that'll be ongoing. And there's a team that's addressing the professional learning side of this. But the database decision making is something that is going to be even more developed in the process guide as we determine the early warning system, which I'll touch on in a second. But it's really designed, this guide is designed to show people what does Tier 1 look like, Tier 2, Tier 3, what are the expectations that we have for different people that work in our school district, and how does that look? How do they support the different tiers? And then, like I said, the infrastructure and support is also to show people how resources are aligned district-wide and how they are allocated. It's going to help us really be more efficient and ultimately effective with our MTSS process. And this will, and then there's the whole entire assessment system, the K-12 assessment system is addressed in the process guide as well. And Annie is going to discuss the social and emotional learning work that we've been doing as well.
Thank you. And this has really been the work of the Mental Health Advisory Committee, because we know that these mental health needs are really embedded with those social emotional learning needs. So the group examined the Minnesota student survey data that was shared with us, along with information that was given by students that were part of the TNL advisory student group. So we really had the opportunity to dive into that data and discuss as a group, really identifying and just brainstorming about needs that we're seeing for students, staff, and parents. Sorry, one F got left off, the staff. So this, and this is just a snapshot. There were actually much more than these that as a group we talked about drawing from that student survey data, from the student information, and then their experience as practitioners out in the community. So this was just a number of things that we saw as needs, and from there then worked down to prioritize What do we really want to focus on? If we have to expend our energies to give attention to a couple of areas, what is the most important? What are the needs that we are seeing? And so we dove down into that, and it really came down to, with students, we examined priorities as managing feelings, identifying a range of emotions within that some of these difficult emotions can be adaptive and can be good, and then working on some of those management techniques for those emotions. Another thing that was identified as a priority is peer-to-peer support. We heard loud and clear that students are used to getting advice and input from each other, and so we want to empower them to ensure that they are giving accurate and supportive advice. And then the third thing with students is identifying and accessing those safe and caring adults. That was the theme that came through, that we want to ensure that students are connecting to adults in their school community and feel like they are part of a greater school community. With staff, the priorities were really determined around that staff development. How do we empower staff and give them the tools that they need to create these cultures where students feel part of a community and a greater good? And then with staff also, their connection to students and others, and creating that sense of community within their classroom. It really was determined that right now our priorities would be on those students and staff, knowing that ultimately parents are a big part of the picture, but also probably part of the long-term plan versus the immediate need right now. And with that, the needs that we really looked at and identified with parents were lots of education around tools and tips to give them to work with their kids, and also education that they can bring back for their kids.
And as I referred to earlier, we talked about an early warning system as one of the recommendations from Carrie. And that system helps support students in a way that we've been able to do, but this having a software to help us really identify students who are at risk. And so we talk about risk levels, like no risk, some risk, and high risk. So all the assessments that we have, we're able to put into those categories to see where are students off track, where do we need to pool our resources to make sure that students do not stay off track for too long. So an early warning system also has predictive capabilities. Using all the data that we have on our students, we're able to tell which students are on the right track, which students are potentially off track and may not be proficient, like say on the MCAs or other targets that we're measuring. And the nice thing about an early warning system is we could use our local targets, or we can use national targets, or a combination of both, to make sure that we're making sure that all of our students are growing. And in an early warning system, some of the data points that we would look to address are standardized assessment results, but also grades and attendance and discipline, and also social emotional needs. And we have an infrastructure in place with all of those assessment tools now, but having a way to measure them in a timely manner is going to be something that we're part of our next steps. And we're now at the phase where we're looking at tools that could serve as our early warning system. So we've looked at multiple vendors. We had vendors present what they have to offer to support our MTSS work. And there are 6 main criteria that we were measuring them against. And we had a team of people do this, and we're going to bring back a couple of vendors to who we want to go deeper into those areas. But as you can see, like visualizations, what type of support do the vendors offer us throughout as we implement and beyond? What does their early warning system actually look like, and how easy is it for staff to use? We want them to be able to demonstrate that so all staff feel comfortable using this. And how does it address our progress monitoring and also our data warehouse needs? I mean, we have a data warehouse now, but how can we continue to grow in that area? And really what this does is ultimately support a system-wide data protocol. Again, one of the Carrie recommendations that we started to implement last year, but that's our way to see how students are performing at the Tier 1 level. And if they're starting at a certain level of proficiency, are they maintaining that level or going beyond that level throughout the school year? In a healthy Tier 1 system, most students, at least 95% of the students who are starting at a certain level, we want them to be maintaining that level at least by the spring and not losing ground. That's how we know that, and that's what this system will help us do.
So the next area to provide you with some updates on is in the area of our multi-level instruction. When we talk about multi-level instruction, we really talk about the 3 tiers, and you've heard us say this on numerous occasions, but our core instruction, or Tier 1, really is about the support we provide, or the instruction we provide for all students through our district curriculum and through our regular courses and requirements that all students receive and participate in. When we talk about Tier 2, we're talking about our supplemental instruction, and this is for students who are identified as needing additional either intervention or extension. They still receive all of Tier 1, our core instruction, and this is layered on top of. And then finally, we talk about Tier 3. And Tier 3 is where we have our more intensive intervention and extension programs. This also could include our special education program, but it's not exclusive to our special education program, as there are students who might need more intensity, longer duration, that do not receive or qualify for special education, or do not or are not identified as having a disability. As you know, our key focus area this year around multi-level or multi-tiered supports, multi-leveled instruction, has really been around Tier 1. And we started by focusing here because we know that we can't intervene our way out of Tier 1 needs. We really have to build our core first in order to meet all students' needs successfully. It also reduces the numbers of students who need additional support. It allows us to free up our resources so that we can provide the support that's needed when that intensity is needed. It increases our identification accuracy, the students who might need that more specialized support, because we're consistent and we're aligned. And ultimately, we get better results, which are better outcomes for each of our students. So as we look at our multi-leveled instruction and our Tier 1 work, a key part of this year that we've been making great progress with is our district curriculum review process. As we've shared previously, our English, language arts, and literacy is a core area that is under review. There are new state standards that we're preparing to implement. We've really been working in phase 1, which is our needs assessment, identifying where we're at. And as a part of that, all elementary teachers were asked to complete a survey. We really needed to know how they were doing with the standards, what instructional materials they were using, what supplemental materials have they added for core instruction, and what were the core practices that are happening in every classroom. This really leads the work for our expanded ELA curriculum team. We also have adjusted, we've worked with the Minnetonka Teachers Association to create an expanded chair structure, which really allows us, when we're in review with a core area, to add a supplemental chair at each grade level. It's really difficult to have one 3rd grade language arts rep, one 6th grade, and 1 or 2 at the high school level, and ask them to know the breadth and depth of every grade level in an area like language arts that covers reading, writing, grammar, vocabulary, all of those areas. So by broadening or deepening the bench, that's really going to allow us to make more steady progress. We'll also build out those teams with the hope of having representation across buildings at each grade level as a part of those summer writing teams. And at the middle level, that'll mean at least 2 6th grade teachers, 2 7th grade, 2 8th grade, representing each building, because again, one of the core goals is alignment. And then those review teams have become familiar initially with the standards. So our next step will be this spring to start prioritizing those, as well as to be doing some initial deeper learning work around best practice in literacy instruction to make sure that the recommendations and the work that comes out of those teams is really aligned with the direction that we need to go, both to be responsive to what we know about how our students have been doing, as well as to make sure that it's best practice and evidence-based, research-based practices happening in every classroom. In the area of health, we're also working on comprehensive health as well as social emotional learning. They also are in phase 1 of the needs assessment. That looks a little different because, of course, we don't have standardized assessments. We don't have the same types of data, although we do have universal screeners from across K-5 and the ones we've implemented at 6th and 9th grade this year. So that's helping to guide that work. We're also in the process of continuing to gather feedback from our stakeholders. So far, we've had 2 opportunities with student focus groups. And as Annie mentioned at the beginning, a lot of work done with the Minnesota Student Survey, really looking at the trends, how those have changed over time, and the express needs in that area. Another key part of Tier 1 really has been an emphasis on initial professional learning. As we shared in November, we were in the early stages of providing some foundational professional learning for all staff. And the sites that were not able to participate in that November late start have since completed that MTSS Foundations training with Carrie through staff meetings either in December or January. The goal of the workshop really was to provide a shared understanding of the core elements and the framework that is being implemented. Dr. Gibbons also shared this overview of how MTSS really needs to emphasize a shift from adaptive change or from technical change to more adaptive change. Her overview talked about that idea of often when there's a problem, and she did a great medical analogy like high blood pressure, you have the option to take medicine and you can manage the need, but it's just managing that. Versus when you're told you have high blood pressure, if you change your diet, change your lifestyle, begin exercising, that more is adaptive change. And how really, if we want this MTSS framework to have a long-term positive impact, we don't just want to add new interventions. We want to deepen instructional practices. We want to deepen our staff's ability to analyze and use assessment data effectively to know what students need and to meet those needs through either core instruction or through targeted intervention or extension. So really emphasizing that type of change that we want to see happen in our system and across our classrooms. She also emphasized or clarified what Tier 1 looks like in Minnetonka. And this was a great slide because it kind of demystified what we're talking about when we talk about Tier 1 and the idea of, okay, so what does that all encompass and what do I as a classroom teacher need to be thinking about? And so we found that also to be effective and we received good feedback on that. In addition to that universal professional learning, we also have really worked to provide site-specific professional learning. So principals and teacher leaders have prioritized what the needs are in their building in relationship to Tier 1 instruction and intervention. And they've really used any available time slots they have for that learning. That's varied from staff meetings to late starts, early releases, and has included opportunities both for required learning for all staff at a site, as well as for teacher choice. Each site really has designed that learning or prioritized it based on assessment data as well as teachers' expressed needs. And these are the most common topics that schools identified or that the professional learning has related to. A couple of specific examples. At the recent late start or early release in February, Excelsior had a menu of MTSS options, such as advanced learning programs in MTSS, a session for English language learners, literacy interventions for K2, and likewise, different opportunity for 3-5 and behavior expectations. Scenic Heights teachers did a deep dive into Tier 1, 2, and 3 in both their English and Chinese immersion programs, and Joe and Nicole highlighted that as part of their school board report. And MME, an example, is teachers at the last early release collaborated with their PLCs and identified essential learnings that they knew were either harder to teach, harder for students to learn, or they got more uneven results, and they developed interventions to support those essential learnings right in their Tier 1 classroom. And Annie's going to tell you a little bit about our progress with social emotional learning in the area of Tier 1.
Well, and this is what gets me excited, because I think this is our area that we have the greatest opportunity for growth. And it has been interesting being out in the schools. I kept hearing repeatedly the need for that core instruction at that Tier 1 level with social emotional learning. And so the wonderful thing is we really have a commitment as a district through the board goals to ensuring consistency and fidelity of that social emotional learning programming across all settings and for all students. So one of the first things that we did was looked at what the Minnesota K through 12 SEL standards were, which are already aligned with the CASEL standards, and compared that to the health curriculum to determine opportunities where we could enhance that content that's already being presented. Additionally, we have that benchmark screening information and the Minnesota Student Survey to drive the focus areas from year to year, and we can be adaptive with that. We know that student needs, based on the data and what we're seeing, and that ties in nicely with, as they talked about, that early warning system, that information and that data may change from year to year. And so our Tier 1 interventions, we can adapt our response according to the needs that we're seeing. So we made the decision that when we looked at the big picture, that it did not seem to make sense to try to explore a K through 12 SEL program. We determined that the needs at that primary level were likely different than the needs at the secondary level. So we made the commitment to explore 2 different programs. At the primary level, teams were formed with representatives from counselors, psychologists, teacher on special assignment, and social workers. And then at the secondary level, made up of counselors and psychologists. And that team will be utilizing 2 tools that will help us to evaluate evidence-based SEL programming that will meet our needs. And I'll dive into that in just a little bit here. And then we will work with, there will be the general teams that will work more with principals to embed this throughout the school and the community. So looking at our program selection, how do we evaluate what kind of social emotional learning program best meets our needs? First, we have to know what our needs are. And again, that's using the data, a rich source of data, reviewing the programs that are available, considering the logistics. How do we want this to look? How are we going to be presenting this within our district? And then choosing that program. Again, there are 2 tools that we're going to be using to identify evidence-based programs that will help to support our goals and priorities in this area. And really it looks at the following things. It identifies the skills that we want to focus on, cognitive, emotions, social, values, perspectives, identity, and responsible decision making. And then again, examines the instructional methods we choose or prefer. What that looks like at the elementary level may look different than at the secondary level. So really looking at what types of strategies and activities that the programs that teach the content knowledge would be delivered. And then program components, how the content is delivered. support for training, school climate culture, assessment tools, opportunities for flexibility and adaptation, with an assurance that it's equitable, meaning that it's culturally sensitive, it's relevant, sustaining, and inclusive of students from all backgrounds, cultures, and educational needs. So the tool using this will help us to identify programming that does the following: student needs as identified through our data, our current capacity to integrate Tier 1 interventions, appropriate instructional methods by level, and then program components that align with district priorities, well-being and belonging. And so these are really the key features that we're looking at of what we want in a social emotional learning program. And when it says incorporate elements of SAFE, it's 4 elements. It's an acronym: sequenced activities that lead in a coordinated and connected way to skill development, active forms of learning that enable students to practice and master new skills, focused time spent developing one or more social and emotional skills, and then explicit defining and targeting of specific skills. And so then this is just a snapshot of the tool. So again, we take all of those factors, our data, what are our goals, what are our priorities, what are we looking to implement, and we can choose the programs. So for example, this is an example of comparing 3 SEL programs: the Caring School Community, Harmony SEL, and the Passport Skills for Life. So we can say we are looking for K through 5, we're looking for 6 through 8, we're looking for 9 through 12. So we can check those boxes to say this is the age range we're looking at. It indicates the implementation support offerings, and then what settings it promotes the SEL, so whether that's in the classroom, whether that's in the community, in the home, and then goes so far as to identify what targeted areas does this specific tool do well. So for example, you can see that the first one, again, if we go back, it's the Caring School Community. It does really well with improving academic performance, reducing problem behaviors, improving school climate, improving school connectedness, and on and on. So we can compare the evidence-based programs that are out there to identify and align with the needs that we're identifying in our student population and really customize that Tier 1 intervention to the needs of our students.
All right, I'm the cleanup hitter, so we're almost done. So as Dr. Ledoux mentioned previously, a commitment the district made in year 1 was to partner with the Carey Institute to conduct a Tier 2 and Tier 3 resource evaluation. This work is being led by Dr. Elena Zhang from the Carey Institute, working with identified teacher leaders in the areas of reading, math, SEL, and well-being. They're working to identify current resources and tools being used in our district and will evaluate the evidence base of each intervention or instructional practice. Following this evaluation, Carey will make recommendations around best practices and needs moving forward. This is just a quick snapshot of the Google survey that the teachers are completing, asking questions such as, what is the resource targeting? What skill is it targeting? What tier of intervention is it? Is it 2 or 3? What grade level? What training is necessary? What progress monitoring is being done, etc. We're working to ensure our district has commensurate resources across and within buildings to support the needs of all learners. So next steps. Our next step with this work include a large amount of professional learning for our staff. We're focusing on what the structure necessary to support these required professional learnings could look like. At all levels, we're focusing on MTSS, evidence-based literacy practices, specifically focusing on MTSS practices through the lens of literacy at the elementary, and at the secondary, MTSS practices that support literacy of the content, assessment, and instructional structures and practices, including intervention and extension in Tier 1. We're working with the Minnesota Center for Reading Research, which is under the umbrella of Carey, along with Carey, on developing and supporting the professional learning that will help weave together these focus areas. And lastly, a learning that has emerged is the need to more clearly delineate the relationship between and among the teams that we have continued to talk about. The work of the team structure, the roles, responsibilities, and workflow among the building leadership team, the grade level or PLC teams, and the student support team will be the focus for further professional learning at each site later this spring, summer, and into the fall. This will lay the foundation for the evolving practices of building SST teams. An intentional focus will be on our SST teams as a necessary next step. Student support teams will engage in professional learning during the summer and into the fall. The SST training will utilize the expertise of the team at Cary, ensuring an adherence to a problem-solving approach. On-site training and observations at each building are predicted to be part of this professional learning to ensure our SSTs are aligned to research and best practices, as well as Cary recommendations. Thank you for allowing us the time to talk to you today about our updates on MTSS, and anyone is happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Questions for our team? No, it's a very lot of information, so.
It's happening, but they're a work in progress.
Well, that's good though, right? I mean, that's part of the point, and it's great to, I think, provide a lot of these tools. I hope that we continue to hear more and more about them. I guess if nobody has a question, I would have one question, which is just kind of what's been the overall reaction. I know we talked a lot about kind of having to reset because it was a little confusing to the staff in the beginning about what the point of all of this was, and I know you guys have done a lot of work in communicating all of that. So kind of where are we at now?
I think we're making good progress. I think that there's a deeper understanding. I think one of the biggest challenges, and we knew this would be a challenge, although we're well into the work, helping every classroom teacher, regardless of their level or content area, know and understand what their role is within the framework and the system, and that when we talk about tier 1, it's everyone, and that's a big shift. We have many great supports in our district, both for intervention and for extension. Our extensive advanced learning programs, our strong Wilson programs, that teachers are trying to see how all the pieces fit together and where their work in the classroom should expand, and then how they collaborate and interact with those additional resources. And so that will be ongoing work for us as a system, and that's part of that team structure piece that Christine talked about, really understanding the interplay of each of the groups, including the intervention team that is one of the grade level or department teams that exists. So I think overall good progress, but it has been interesting as we were out at buildings. You're no longer standing next to me. As we've been out at buildings to hear people have reactions all the way from, oh, I know all about this, to, oh, that's not what I thought it was, or, oh, this is for everyone, this isn't just intervention. So we're still building, and it's good work.
Great. Well, thank you all, and thanks for all the hard work that you're doing, and I think a lot more exciting news to come in this area. So,
thank you.
All right, we're moving on then. Our next agenda item is the adoption of the FY24 health and dental insurance premiums. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, as you've heard this topic come back several times, on an annual basis, we have a collective committee that reviews proposals to make sure that our self-insurance fund is healthy and capable of sustaining the demands of our employees. As no surprise to anyone, inflation has hit this part of the world like it's hit everything else, and we need to make some adjustments to match the rising costs that our employees are going out as they're getting treatment in dental or health. Tonight, Mr. Bourgeois is going to talk about the recommendations of that committee, as you've heard before, and ask for board approval.
Thank you, Mr. Law, and Madam Chair, members of the board. As Superintendent Law indicated, we have a committee made up of 13 individuals from all of our bargaining units, 4 from the teachers bargaining unit, which is our largest unit, but then 1 from all the other employees groups and meet and confer groups. And we meet every year to look at our health insurance plans, make recommendations on plan design potentially, and make recommendations to you as the trustees of our self-insurance fund on premium increases. So we've been very successful over the years, and self-insurance has really benefited the school district. Our average premium increase since the inception of the fund is 3.17%. And we've only had 2 years where we had double-digit premium increases. Actually, we're with the recommendation, it'll be the third year we just had that we'll be recommending increases of over 5% because of what's happening with health insurance inflation. For fiscal years 2020 through 2022, during COVID, we basically kept our premiums level, but there was a very muted participation in activity going to the doctor. People were just kind of holding things off and not going as much. So people are returning back to normal now. So for fiscal year 2024, which is what we're talking about, setting premiums for, the Siegel Health Insurance trend is actually projecting overall that the inflation rate for medical is going to be 7.4%, and for pharmacy, which is a big chunk of our claims, also at 9.8%. We actually are looking at not being quite at that level because we're recommending a couple of changes, but also during the fiscal year 2020 through 2022 years, we built up an additional $5.5 million into our fund balance, which is very healthy, extremely healthy, basically doubled our fund balance. And so we're able to actually take advantage of that to maybe mute some of the premium increases that might be necessary over this year and possibly the next couple years as we go through kind of a more elevated level of claims by our group as we start getting procedures done that might have been put off during COVID-19. So our actuary initially recommended to us that we do a 13% premium increases just to break even, not looking at what our reserves are. And so we take that recommendation and we looked at it, and we talked about it as a group, and we recommended that we make some minor adjustments of a $10 copay increase for the health plans that have drug copays. 2 of our 4 health plans have drug copays. The other 2 actually don't have drug copays. They just have a standard percentage of coinsurance. So that actually took our 13% projected increase from the actuary down to 11%. But then we're looking at recommending using about the equivalent of 3% of that increase, basically buying that down with about $550,000, or about 1/11 of the additional funds that have been built up over the past 3 years that had been unanticipated. So the result of that would be 8% premium increases for medical insurance. This is not really super exciting, but I'm just going to quickly read the plan numbers. The other thing is one of the reasons we're doing this in March is because the Affordable Care Act requires us to adopt premiums and have them available to inform employee groups at least 90 days before they become effective. And so since we start on July 1st with our new premiums and a new fiscal year, we have to have these premiums approved and adopted before April 1st. So hence we are here in March. For our base perform plan network for employees, employee only, the premium is recommended to be set at $785, which is a $58 change per month. For employee plus one, $1,334 per month, $99 change. For family, $1,874 and a $139 per month change. Our that's actually our second most utilized plan. There is about a little over 500 people in that plan. The VIII HRA Open Access Plan is our next one. It's actually our most utilized plan. There's about 600 people in that plan. And we actually have employee at $726 would be a $54 increase. Employee plus one at $1,236 would be a $92 increase. Family would be $1,737, a $129 increase. Then we have 2 small HSA plan. When I say small, they're very concentrated plan with lower premiums, but we have 27 people between the 2 of them that actually take advantage of these plans. So for our high deductible HSA open access plan, the employee dollar amount would be $653 and a $48 increase. Employee plus one would be $1,110, an $82 increase. Family would be $1,562 and a $116 increase per month. Then our Smart Care high deductible HSA Care Lane plan, which basically kind of channels people to certain facilities, a small subset of facilities. The employee our plan would be $591 for employee only, a $44 increase. Employee plus one, $1,003, a $74 increase, and family would be $1,410, which is a $104 increase. So, when you think about this so that we haven't increased our premiums for 3 years. If you take 8% over, 3 years, this is the 4th year. It's equivalent of if we just would have done 2% and 2% and 2% and 2%. So, but we do have to catch up a little bit. Our dental plan, the recommendation there is for a 4% increase, which is about what the trend is expected to be, the inflation rate for dental. So the 4% increase for employee would be $45 per month, which is a $2 change, and family would be $110 per month, which is a $4 change. So the Self-Insurance Advisory Committee recommended unanimously to bring these forward for your consideration to set as the premiums for fiscal year 24.
Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Could I have a motion that the School Board of Minnetonka Independent School District 276 does hereby set the health insurance premium rates and dental insurance premium rates for the Self-Insurance Trust Fund for the fiscal year of 2024 at an increase of 8% for the health insurance premiums over fiscal year 2023 rates and an increase of 4% for dental insurance premium rates over fiscal year 2023.
So moved.
Mike? Is there a second?
Second.
Megan? All right, questions or comments for Mr. Bourgeois? Patrick?
Thanks to you and the committee for all this work. I just wanted to make sure I'm following this. Sometimes it takes me a little while to track through those numbers, but I think based on this and what we talked about in the study session, my understanding is through the use of our sort of judicious use of these reserves, as well as some plan design changes, we're able to reduce the rate increase or the premium increase from what would have been, it was originally estimated to be about 13% to about 8%.
That is correct,
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for that work, and thanks for explaining it to me again.
Thank you.
Anybody else have questions? No? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And thank you again, and thanks to the committee for all the great work and the looking at things as Patrick mentioned carefully so that we were able to mitigate that increase a little bit.
I'll pass that along to them. Thank you.
Okay. Our next agenda item is the approval of the amended community education budget. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board. It's not uncommon for the separate funds within a school district to need to be adjusted as we actualize different earning or different spending after the June 30th or budget setting process. Normally, this report would have been wrapped into our entire district amended budget, but the timing of that presentation and some community education numbers didn't line up. So you heard this at the last work session, and this is your chance to approve this amended budget so that they can move forward getting ready for next year. Mr. Litvin.
Thank you, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, board members, good evening. Go Skippers, if you haven't heard. This is our community ed revised budget, if you have not heard already, and here's some fun picks from programs that have happened just this year. And good news all around, and this revised budget will bring us up to date with some numbers of participation as well as some budget numbers. And these participation numbers are going through January of this past year, January 31. So year over year, participation is up almost 2,500, which is really good. And that, of course, extrapolates into dollars, and you'll see that here shortly as well. So good news in programs, thanks to those out there that are participating, and that's a reflection on quality staff doing good work and quality programs as well. So we're appreciative to those staff for doing great work. Here are some of those programs that are doing well across the board, and some of note there, ski and snowboard. Last trip is tomorrow night for middle schoolers and high schoolers, and so thank goodness the snow hung on. They were deferred by 1 week because of rough weather where they had to cancel, but look at the snow they can enjoy tomorrow evening, so that's pretty cool. And some other things that have gone well this year as well. Coming this weekend, MMW, should you want to come on and applaud, we host an archery tournament once a year. We're part of a group, and there's 12 other clubs coming, and 35 of those archers are from Minnetonka. So I'm highlighting a couple of things that might not normally cross your desk, and archery is one of those, which is a really good program. Another is chess. In December, we hosted a competition. We had 99 participants, and they came from 41 different cities. We've got another one next Saturday. If you're looking to come and cheer quietly, you can do that. And that event is next Saturday at Scenic Heights. And again, that one next Saturday is almost full as well. Should be in the 90s easily that day. Fun stuff. Opening day for Tour de Tonka 2023 was just held last week on March 1st. And here's some cool numbers that came in from just that day one. And you can see those things there. And today, I'm told that we have a registration from one of the 4 delinquent states so far. So we're at 46 states, and somebody from New Jersey showed up today. And so that's pretty cool. So we'll take that individual, and we've got 3 states to hunt down now. So that's some good news as well with registration. SOAR, Project SOAR is our Adults with Disabilities program, and they've done real well. Lindsay Richens is our program manager in that department, just fantastic. So she's done really well, and you'll see more of that in a little bit, but 60% more creative classes from her is really good. Music Academy is a Minnetonka Music Academy program in Minnetonka Community Ed. Most community eds would just drool over having a program like this. Over 350 students take lessons right now in Music Academy. So Amber Yang, hats off to her. And then Project SOAR, as I mentioned earlier, here's some participation, which is really astounding where it's been just coming from the last couple of years. A little bit of finance work. For most people know that Community Ed is a fee-based program predominantly, and this shows that. We have a little bit of levy that's going to broadcast out over some of our programming, but that's dedicated levy dollars to be used specifically for some programming. The rest is fee-based. And if you look at this formula, it's going to be different in every community ed program. Ours is 90-10, which our community should feel very good about, because that means we're providing value and we're not dependent upon extra money coming from the board or other sources. We're able to make it go. There's no 2 and 2 or 4 and 4 or whatever we hope for this year from the legislature for K-12 funding. We're 0 and 0, and that's what we've been for many years. Levies are flat. Here's a little bit about the revenue budget, and again, this is a revised look from what we put forth last May, and so we've increased this revenue projection by $1.2 million to show reality, and that's a 10.5% jump from what we forecasted earlier. Expense-wise, they're up as well because of hiring that we've done, supplies that we've purchased. We have a new playground in front of our building, and other things happening that are very exciting and very good for students and families. And so therefore the expenditures are up as well. Again, some cool program picks from this year. And thanks for allowing me to present this evening. And I'll be back in 1 month with Jenny Bedurka and Molly Bonneman for other Community Ed News. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Litfin. Could I have a motion to approve the 2022-2023 MCE revised budget as presented?
So moved.
Mark, is there a second?
Second.
Patrick? Okay, discussion or questions for Mr. Litfin? Anybody know? We talked, I know, quite a bit about this at the study session. Always good news to have a revised budget going in the right direction. So thank you, Mr. Litfin, to you and your team for the great work. And so it's been moved and seconded. You have a question? Okay.
Which 3 states are we missing? Like if we need
That's
to reach out.
That's a great question. I should know that answer. One of them, I believe, is Idaho, and then I believe it's Hawaii and upper Northeast. I'll get those identified for you.
Let us know so we can reach out if we need to.
Apparently, they sell no bikes in those states. I don't know. So.
Anybody else? No? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the meeting.
All right, we're now at the time for our consent agenda. Could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Patrick, is there a second?
Second.
Mark? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
Thank you. Okay, so we have 1 abstention, and that has passed. Our next agenda item is our board reports. Do we have anybody who would like to make a board report this evening? Patrick?
don't know if I'm giving an announcement or a board report, but
Go for it.
I'll dive in. The CASE committee is still continuing to work on getting together our community action for student education. CASE families are going to have a chance to have a day at the Capitol on March 20th. So if you're interested in being involved in our efforts to encourage legislators to reinvest in public education, this will be a great opportunity. We meet at the District Service Center and carpool to the legislature, and there'll be an opportunity ahead of time for people to learn on some talking points and other things to discuss with legislators. And hopefully we can help encourage the current legislature to follow through on what should be a good year for public education funding. So if you need to learn more about how to get involved, you can email our communications department at communications@minnetonkaschools.org.
Thank you, Patrick. Anybody else have a board report? Megan?
Just some updates from the Minnetonka Preschool and ECFE PTO. Registration is open currently. Right now it's 67.5% full. So if you're considering signing up, you should go to the catalog and check that out. And then they had some future highlights coming up on March 15th. It's ECFE Day at the Capitol event from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Teacher grants are due March 31st. There's a parent outreach play date, April 15th, from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. And the spring fair is May 12th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. Planning bigger and better. They had a huge success last year with food trucks and a band and a silent auction. So if you have kids of that age, please consider attending.
Thank you. Mark?
Yeah, we're in the final stages of scheduling school board visits to various schools. I think we've heard from 4 of the schools so far, so you should be able to see us in the community, in the schools in the next 2 to 3 months, and we'll meet with the school boards, the PTO and PTA boards there.
Great, thank you. Nope. All right, superintendent's report, Superintendent Law.
Nothing other than that's covered tonight. If you didn't catch the comment from Mr. Litvin, congratulations to the hockey team winning in overtime, I think is what you're referencing. Yeah, I will just say, having the chance to interact with a lot of our students as they celebrate the end of their season, everything from DECA or the various clubs we recognize tonight and the pre-recognition to the athletic teams, or theater wrapping up seasons being celebrated. It's a really fun time. This time of year, it's busy, but very fun. So that's it.
Great, thank you. Any announcements? Okay. I would just reiterate that, as I mentioned during the community comments, that we did make some changes to our community comments cards, where the home address and email address are now optional rather than required. Speakers have an opportunity to check boxes to indicate how they're connected to the school district. We clarified a little bit about how the interactions work and how the follow-up works. And so we had some great conversation about that and look forward to continued input from members of the public. All right, anybody else? Last call for any announcements? No? Okay, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Mark, is there a second?
Second.
Megan? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.